All right, over on the East Loop, we've got 24 westbound, a crash right after Shelby Avenue. Then an injury crash blocking the off-ramp, 65 southbound to 24 downtown. South Loop got a crash, 40 eastbound at 65. Also 40 westbound before Fessler's Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
All right, kids, here we are. Here we go. It's the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day, our final day of the week. We'll take a couple of days off and call it a weekend right after we get done here. 4 full hours, and I hope you're able to spend every single moment with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN as I loudly adjust my microphone. We're on a variety of platforms. Let's get the pleasantries out of the way quickly, and we'll get to the meat and potatoes of the day. It is episode 807. It is day 110 of the Trump administration. 110 days out of 1,460.5. Friday, May 9, 2025. So we're on the old app. You can take us wherever you go. You don't have to be around your radio. We're, of course, on 100,000 watts of blowtorch power on 99.7 FM. You can also find us on Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You're always invited to join us there. We'll be there, and I'm in my bowling shirt, so you can see us there. Ken Weaver's in his Oklahoma hat.
Boomer!
That is, what is that? I don't know what clutch means. I don't know what that means. That's a manual transmission. Oh, okay. Well, are they good?
Yeah.
I assume you would think they're
so.
good.
Yeah.
I would assume that you would think they were good, considering. And by the way, I'm mad at you, Ken Weaver. I just speaking about bands.
What's that?
You didn't tell me that Cake was coming to town.
Yeah.
Missed it.
Yeah, I missed it too.
Did you?
Yeah. Love
You know-
cake.
I didn't know you'd like cake, Brother Murphy.
This is your this radio show right here on Super Talk. We are your official cake show.
Oh, well.
All things cake. We love all things cake on this show.
That's
Red
right.
velvet, German chocolate,
Well, yeah, that cake.
the band cake. No, I love cake.
I bet you the band cake would love us.
Oh, yeah. Right in their wheelhouse. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Weaver, did you say that you didn't see many Trump Republicans at the cake show?
I think I might have been the only one there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Probably so.
I mean, but hey, we're all there to enjoy some good music.
I mean, there were some other old boys with, there were some other Gen Xers that had long beards like me that they were probably of my persuasion too, but
we
the
all
vast majority.
Y'all go in the distance?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Always.
Yeah. Going for speed?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so for the record, I'm mad at Ken Weaver for the rest of the day.
Sorry about that, Brother Murphy.
No, it's all good. It's not your job to tell me when Cake's coming to town.
Well, I'll remember next time.
Everybody doing well?
Yeah.
Everybody having a good day?
Friday, sun
Yeah.
shining.
Doing a real good thing. Have
Good
you seen
stuff.
Have you seen what's going on in New Jersey?
Yeah, the ice stuff.
Yeah, the mayor just got arrested.
It's awesome. It's where I was starting the show.
Yes, sir.
I'm about to start the show on that subject, and I wonder if is Tom home? I know you're busy arresting the mayor up there in New Jersey. Can you come and arrest ours, please? I mean, Freddie O'Connell is smart enough to walk a line where he doesn't get arrested, but I can't say as much for the Metro Council. And I promise you, based on what has happened in New Jersey today, that someone on the Metro Council, whether it's Sepulveda or whatever her name is, Sepulveda. Dadgummit. I practiced all night, too. Sandra Sepulveda or that Jenny Welch, that purple-haired lady, or whomever it might be, I promise you one of them is angling to get arrested. They want to get arrested at this point because it's all performative for these Democrats. And someone needs to ask a very important question of our mayor, Freddie O'Connell. Do you not understand that it is illegal to come to the United States of America without going through the appropriate ports of entry with the appropriate documentation. We have gotten to a point 110 days into the Donald Trump presidency. He has been so effective in shutting down the southern border. It's amazing what he's managed to do. And I don't want to belabor the point. I'm not here to beat the horse to death, but I think it bears repeating. The Biden administration told us none of this could be done. Joe Biden and his administration, the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, told us it couldn't be done. We can't do anything more without assistance from the Congress of the United States of America. They ran to the bully pulpit and screamed that they needed more money, which was always a lie. They did not need more money nor any other authorization. They needed to do their jobs. And the Donald Trump administration demonstrates that on our southern border on a daily basis. In addition to the work that they're doing on the southern border, Donald Trump has authorized his Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, and his ICE and Border Security and Illegal Immigration czar, Tom Homan, to do the job that Joe Biden would not do, and to eradicate criminal illegal aliens from our midst. Criminal illegal aliens. Now, to be an illegal alien or to be in the United States of America illegally is a criminal act in and of itself. What we are focusing on, and what Tom Homan has indicated that they are focusing on, is finding the worst of the worst and getting those individuals out of this country. In other words, those that have come to not to work, not to make a better life for themselves. That's one class and group of people. But those who have come to prey on other Americans, to prey on our communities, and in fact, to prey on many of these illegal alien communities. And as we said yesterday, ultimately, what we are arguing is that many of these communities have nowhere to turn because they're afraid to turn to the police. And they're being preyed upon by their fellow illegal aliens who are criminals and who want to take advantage of them. So, yes, Ken Weaver, to answer your question, I'm focused on this. 3 members of Congress stormed through the gates of a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention facility in New Jersey today, demanding that they be allowed to conduct an oversight visit. Representatives Rob Menendez Jr., Bonnie Watson Coleman, and LaMonica McIver, all New Jersey Democrats, entered ICE's Delaney Hall detention facility in Newark. They were held up inside at first checkpoint, and according to the Department of Homeland Security spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin, these members of Congress storming into a detention facility goes beyond bizarre political stunt and puts the safety of our law enforcement agents and the detainees at risk. A DHS spokesperson said to Fox News, members of Congress are not above the law and cannot illegally break into detention facilities. Had these members requested a tour, we would have facilitated a tour of the facility. It is an evolving situation. The prison currently holds alleged killers, MS-13 gang members, child rapists, among other criminal offenders. The lawmakers were outside of the facility with a group of protesters when the gates opened to allow an ICE bus in. The lawmakers rushed through the gates and past security. Activists have demanded entry into the facility and we should let them in and then not let them back out. We're at Delaney Hall, an ICE prison an ICE prison in Newark that opened without permission from the city and in violation of local ordinance, Coleman wrote. We've heard stories of what it's like in other prisons. We're exercising our oversight authority to see for ourselves. FAFO, ma'am. FAFO. So the mayor, what is his name? Ross Baraka?
Ross Baraka.
Ross Baraka has been arrested now, Ken?
Got arrested. Yeah.
All right. Well, good.
Yeah,
That's
arrested
great.
at the ICE detention center, authorities said. The mayor of Newark, Ross Baraka, committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigations to remove himself from the ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey this afternoon. That, according to interim U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, Alina Habba.
Now, here's where all of this goes, right? So these morons break the law and they get arrested as a result. And it does not matter. You know, the same people that were screaming to us 8, 9, 10 months ago that no one is above the law now want you to believe that there are people that are above the law. And the same morons that were telling us that the president of nobody's above the law. The president's not above the law. The president has to be held accountable. The rule of law applies to everyone equally. Okay. No one's allowed into this detention facility without authorization, no matter if you're a mayor or a congressperson or what. And so if you try to get in, they're going to arrest you, which is what happened. But now, watch as they hit microphones and they'll hit these press conferences and they'll say, breathlessly, I expect that #NeverCNN will be reporting on this very soon. The Trump administration is now arresting duly elected officials in New Jersey. He's throwing politicians in jail, they'll tell you. And they won't tell you why. And they will not fairly and accurately report the news, as we do here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you, Ken Weaver.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Joan Jones.
Yes, sir.
They're going to, you can see the playbook. It's as clear as an unmuddied lake. They don't detail exactly why these individuals are being arrested. They will say that Donald Trump is throwing his political enemies in jail. Something that they would very much like to do, by the way, and tried to do. So, yes, as Ken just mentioned, and I looked this up, not that I did not trust my man, the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, Ras Baraka, committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigation to remove himself from the ICE detention facility in Newark, New Jersey this afternoon. That, according to Alina Habba, the U.S. attorney from New Jersey. He has willingly chosen to disregard the law. That will not stand in this state. He has been taken into custody. No one is above the law, writes Habba. So in other words, while we have been discussing many of these same types of activities going on, not necessarily of a detention facility nature, but ICE-related activities in our local community, I am sad to note that apparently our liberals don't know how to do it right. I mean, New Jersey liberals just told Nashville liberals, hold my beer and watch how you get it done. So if Sepulveda wants me to start pronouncing, did I say it right?
Yeah, you did.
So if Sepulveda wants me to start pronouncing her name correctly, she needs to get her ass arrested. Like, quick. I mean, why wouldn't she? They strive for attention. They do not care about the rule of law, and they sure as heck don't care about community safety. Because, frankly, if Sandra Sepulveda or Jenny Welsh or Freddie O'Connell or any of these other local liberals on the Metro Council and otherwise, if any of these folks of the 13 state lawmakers in Nashville that Chris Webber sent emails to, by the way, can we get a I've checked every day since you sent that email.
Yeah.
Can we get a little tally?
Yeah.
Can you give us a little running tally? Because we sent it out to multiple people. See what responses we've gotten today.
And yeah, 0.
Huh. Well, that was the same as yesterday.
It was, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's actually doubled. Still 0.
Doubled from 0 to 0.
Yep.
0 times 0 equals
0.
0. So whether it's just Jeff Yarborough or J.R. Clemens or what's that Oliver lady's name? Charlene Oliver. I think that's right. Or Heidi or Justin Jones. I'll talk to any of you about this. I want to have a conversation with you about how we can best protect the immigrant community in Nashville, Tennessee. But I don't think you want to do that. I don't think that's your purpose at all. Your purpose is to gather power through votes. And you don't care about the local community that you hurt as a result. You're the ones that have been lying all this time. Sadly, many believed you, and I feel bad for those people. I feel bad for the community in Antioch and beyond that believed you when you told them, as long as you are here long enough, you'll be fine. That commission of a violation of the law will get beyond that, and you don't have to worry about any of that. That was never true. It was not true when you said it, and it's not true today. And we will work with those people eventually, but what we have to do is get the criminal element out of this city and out of this country. and back to their countries of origin, which is what we are endeavoring to do, following the rule of law. And if you hate it so much, guys, if y'all hate the rule of law so much, then why do you preach it when you pretend to be in power? Secondarily, if you hate it so much, then I would suggest to you that there's a remedy. Win elections and change it. That's the way that you do it. All right, that gets us started with the opening monologue today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is a First Amendment Freestyle Friday. I would love to hear from you. It will be Fri-Jay just after 4 o'clock, and we'll welcome our good friend, legal correspondent, good Tennessee man, Jay St. Clair, to the program. Get your legal questions in for Jay St. Clair, 4:05 or thereabouts. That's when he'll be here. But until then, First Amendment Freestyle Friday on the docket today, 20 minutes after the hour. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if we've not covered a story and you think we need to cover it, now's your opportunity. It's The Murphy Show on Super Talk. If you're out and about over the course of the weekend, I would encourage you to get down Franklin Way. If you're just on the square and you're looking at some of the beauty, if you're looking up at Chip, that's the name of the statue. They call him Chip. Did y'all know that? Because they chipped his hat when they put him up there. Anyway, that's a little fun fact about the history of Franklin, Tennessee. But if you're looking at Chip, just look around the corner and you'll see Gray's Pharmacy. And if you see the Gray's Pharmacy sign, you'll see Savory Spice. Walk into Savory Spice, you'll smell the smells. Man, oh man, I can't get out of there without spending a little money, folks, because they've got so many good items at Savory Spice. Let me focus on one thing. Their popcorn sprinkle. Let me tell you, whether you're looking for sweet on top of your popcorn or savory on top of your popcorn, they have this delicious sprinkle that goes on popcorn. So if you're thinking about a movie night with the family over the weekend, man, oh man, you need to get to Savory Spice and enjoy some of that sprinkle that they have available. They've got all manner of different things, gift ideas and gift items for mama. If mama loves to cook and you're looking for a last-minute gift idea, why not get a Savory Spice and grab her something that she'll absolutely love for the kitchen? And you get a little residual impact because she's going to whip up something delicious with those spices from Savory Spice. You up your food game by upping your spice game. You up your spice game at the locally owned Savory Spice, which, by the way, have I mentioned lately that about 1/4 of their stock is lower in price than it was 3 months ago? Because when the prices go down for Savory Spice, the prices go down for you. Go talk to Holly and David and the rest of the crew at the one and only Savory Spice.
Well, we are hearing from Metro Police Chief John Drake today about the ICE detentions here in Nashville. Let you hear that, tell you more about what's going on in New Jersey with that mayor getting arrested by ICE. It's coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I've got breaking news, boys.
Let's hear it.
I got some breaking news that I never thought would happen during this radio show, but it is happening as we speak. It is 3:26 on this Friday, May 9. Dan Mandis is in the YouTube chat.
Wow. Has he been in the Dan Gria?
I don't know. I don't know the deal, but if y'all need to get on this, y'all need to get up on this. Go over to the YouTubes. Give us the old like and subscribe. Give us the thumbs up. How much is that costing us nowadays, Ken Weaver?
Absolutely nothing, boys.
So it costs you nothing to give us the old like, subscribe, and thumbs up. But you go over to the YouTube chat, and Dan Mandis just commented on my shirt. How about that?
Brother Dan Mandis.
I love that. I wonder if he's in the hot tub.
I bet you he is.
You know, you get the laptop on the edge of the hot tub, and you just type away. Talking to folks like Turd Ferguson, Lindsay, and Fly Girl. Let me tell you something. That YouTube chat, the text line, that's just between you and me. You know, I see you on the text line, and that's just a one-on-one communication. That YouTube chat's like a party on Lower Broad. A little bit crazy, Dan. A little bit crazy. I don't know that why. I don't know. I don't know that Dan can stand it very long, but he's in there now. So
you got to be careful of that chat.
It's Oh, look, Dan just said Weaver looks like a badass. That was Dan Mandis.
I think he is getting into the Dan Gria.
Well, I mean, you do kind of look like a badass now. I don't disagree with him. I'm just surprised Dan said it out loud.
Especially on radio. Can't tell how tall he is.
That's Chris Webber. I didn't throw you under
Chris
the bus.
tried to out me, man. Come on, let me enjoy it for just a second, brother Chris.
Oh, it's like what it's working with Ken. Pardon me, Ken. Chris and I are going to talk for a minute.
All right.
Hey, Chris, working with Ken is like watching NASCAR races on TV.
Yeah.
And then you see all the interviews with the NASCAR drivers. And then you meet one in person.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, I didn't realize he was 4'6".
Well, that's what I get, man. Whenever I meet some people, there's just kind of this look on their face, and it's well, you sound taller.
Where's the rest of you?
What I normally get when I meet people in person, this is the God's honest truth, is I'll meet somebody and have a conversation with them, and I'm telling you, it happens maybe 1 out of every 10 conversations. People go, "You're much nicer than I thought you would be." I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or
Your reputation precedes you.
You're much nicer than I thought you would be. Well, thank you, I think.
I guess.
I don't know. So Mandis, while he can stand it, is up there in the chat. Dan is going on a not Disney cruise. Oh, wait. Dan said that.
He referred to himself in the third person.
He sure did. He sure did.
He's definitely hitting that Dan Gria.
So he's off next week. Is that what's happening?
You know what? As long as Dan's in this YouTube chat, I might just do a radio show where I just read the YouTube chat. The chat has been blessed, says Travis. Billy writes in, Dan, don't drop the phone in the bubble bath. Wasn't that Dan's thing when I first got here a few years ago?
I bet it still is.
Yeah, but he still is, man. Brother Dan Mandis likes those bubble baths. Remember, he was going to try to get Gary Sinise in one.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah. And Sinise was still on the phone.
He was still on the phone.
I heard that.
I hope Gary didn't hear that.
I heard every word.
That's what he said. I heard every word. Yeah, we're going to get him in bubble bath and then some PJs, if I recall correctly. Going to get him in some of those Dan PJs.
Yes, sir.
So thank you, Dan, for gracing us with your presence in the YouTube chat. We appreciate that. You can join us over there on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch as the visual party goes on. Right now, it is 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
3:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. ICE detentions continue in Nashville. And we heard today from Metro Police Chief John Drake. Here's some of it. Channel 4 played.
Our police department had no knowledge of any ICE enforcement going on this past weekend. In fact, I was not even aware of any actions going on until about midday Sunday morning when I was contacted by the mayor's office.
Now, Channel 4's Jordan James updates the latest numbers provided by ICE.
Over the last few days, Tennessee Highway Patrol has been working with federal agencies. They've made nearly 600 traffic stops that have led to at least 103 people being taken into ICE custody. Among those were reportedly gang members and felons, according to ICE. The federal agency has yet to release the names and charges of those detained.
Meanwhile, in New Jersey, Newark Mayor Ross Baraka was arrested for allegedly trespassing at an ICE facility in New Jersey this afternoon. Interim U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey posted to X. The mayor of Newark, Ross Baraka, committed trespass and ignored multiple warnings from Homeland Security investigations to remove himself from the ICE detention center there in Newark. Baraka's office says he was taken to an ICE field office there in Newark and claims he was visiting the facility, Delaney Hall, to conduct what the mayor's office said was oversight after the building was turned into an ICE facility. Air traffic control radar screens briefly went black at Newark Airport again early this morning. At a briefing, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying the Department of Transportation and Federal Aviation Administration will address the issue tonight.
That glitch was caused by the same telecoms and software issues that were raised last week. Everything went back online after the brief outage, and there was no operational impact.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, seeing an injury crash, partially blocking the off-ramp 65 southbound to 24 downtown. Then in Madison, police reporting a crash 65 southbound at Briley Parkway, Ellington Parkway. On the South Loop, police say there's a crash 40 eastbound at I-65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Tennessee Men's Clinic is a one-stop shop. Well, I say one-stop shop. They have 2 locations now, so I suppose they're a 2-stop shop for all things men's health. And I want to talk to you about it for just a moment, friends. It's Matt Murphy for Tennessee Men's Clinic. Tennessee Men's Clinic started in 2014. The idea was to address those issues that for a long time men had chosen to ignore. Either because they just didn't want to talk about it to other people. There was a little shame involved in some of these issues that men go through when they get into their 40s, maybe into their 50s. But there is no shame in this game. Men, let me tell you a couple of things. One, about half the men listening to me right now will deal with some form of ED at some point in their lives. And there are ways to tackle this, to get in front of it and not have to deal with it, put it in the rearview mirror. And the best way is to contact Tennessee Men's Clinic. If you've noticed a reduction in intimate times in your relationship, it can dramatically affect that relationship with your significant other. And it's time to get this behind us. Contact Tennessee Men's Clinic. Tell them what issues are going on. You'll meet with one of their qualified urologists, and they will develop a game plan of success for you to get you back right again with all aspects of your life. Your energy levels can get back to where they once were. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or call 615-208-9090. 208-9090. Locations in Cool Springs and Midtown. It's Tennessee Men's Clinic. It is 38 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy, and we thank you for being with the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7. You can join us on the radio side of things, of course. There's always iHeart or Spotify, TuneIn, a variety of different ways to join us with an app. We invite you to download our app and take us wherever you go. That's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If you prefer the visuals of the Super Talk television side of things, you can do that. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and you get the added bonus of having Dan Mandis in the YouTube chat with you for just a short amount of time. I don't know how long Mandis can handle it. Mandis is now throwing down.
Well, what's he doing, man?
People are asking him about lotions, and he's.
Oh, no.
He's like. Somebody asked him if he used Davina. He said no. Somebody asked him about. I don't even know what some of these are. Dr. Teal's. And he said, actually, I love Dr. Teal's. Dr. Teal's is great. Which got, as you might expect, a robust reaction. Let me tell you something. There's one thing I will say about this lineup on Super Talk 99.7, whether it's Ken Weaver or Joan Jones or Matt Murphy or Chad Benson or Chris Hand or Dan Mandis, we are our authentic selves. I think that's fair.
So is brother Chris.
I think that's fair. All of us.
Chris let it be known he doesn't care about anything.
Who, Hand?
No. Weber.
Oh, Weber. No, Weber. No, Weber. Oh. No, yeah, Weber.
Is that an eye roll?
I don't, yeah, Weber. Yes, Weber is.
Why? You just reminded me of several teachers I had over the course of my educational career. Weber, an eye roll.
For me, it's there's a little peer aggression going on because Weber has outflanked me in the I don't give a crap department, and I don't care for it.
Yes, man, he's outflanked everybody.
But I've never met. We're just going to talk about you like you're not here, Chris.
All right. So it's like normal.
Yeah. All right.
I'm used to it.
What I love. I've never met a man that was so good at his job.
Yeah.
That also didn't give a crap.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and
that's how good he is.
I think he just says I've been doing it too long.
Meanwhile, I look over to my left and I see I see this on the chat.
Yeah.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Buffalo Bill.
They're now quoting Buffalo Bill to Mandis. Oh. And I don't think that's
I could see Dan in a silk robe and a skin skull wig.
Put the lotion in the basket. Put the lotion in the basket.
He's got, what's his Bandit? Isn't that his dog's name?
Oh, yeah, little Bandit.
He's holding Bandit.
Precious.
I like me.
I love it. Yeah, dude. I think you should stop the lines from right there.
Yeah, that's as far as I'm going, dude.
The next line got a little
going. That's it. I'm not going to be like that New Jersey mayor.
You know what you look like to me with your good bag and your cheap shoes. Anyway, speaking of mayors, let me just tell you a quick story about our mayor because I got communicated after his State of the Metro address. I challenged the mayor. He was on with us that day, and I challenged the mayor because he said that they had lost all of this money in terms of federal grants for the city. And that was one of the primary reasons. Remember, because I said, I can't believe you're blaming Donald Trump. I'm not blaming Donald Trump. Then what are you doing if you're not blaming Donald Trump? What he did during the State of the Metro address, Freddie O'Connell blamed Donald Trump, essentially, by saying that if the federal government is going to cause instability in the funding of the city of Nashville and the Metro Davidson County area, then they have to make up those funding mechanisms somewhere. And the way that they've decided to do it is to pass a tax increase, a property tax increase of the equivalent of a 27% property tax increase. That's on top of the 34% property tax increase that occurred just 4 years ago. And I said, wait a minute, you're talking about all of this money, all of this grant money that has been withheld, and I have a hard time believing that you're already feeling a pinch with some of these grant dollars. Can you explain this to me? Well, to their credit, and I'll give it where it's due, at least he comes on with us. I don't know if he's coming on with us anymore after all of this ICE stuff. I don't know if he's coming on with us anymore because I'm going after the mayor on this property tax. I think there's a way that we can stop this property tax, but it is a very skinny lane, and it involves hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people showing up at the city council meetings. And I don't think that's going to happen, but whatever. But I received some communication from someone in the mayor's office, and I'm reading from that communication right now. It says, you asked about congressionally authorized grants that we believe were canceled unlawfully. And then he goes on to describe some of those grants. Now, this is the justification the mayor's office is giving to raise your property taxes. Here are the grants per the mayor's office that they say have been canceled unlawfully by the Trump administration. Electric vehicle charging stations. A grant was under the Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Program established by the IIJJA. The East Nashville Spokes was Active Transportation and Infrastructure Program, also established by the IIJA. So there were two funding sources in the first joint lawsuit, according to the mayor's office. There are two lawsuits, okay? So the first one was the Spokes, or East Nashville Spokes, which I don't know what that is, and the electric vehicle charging stations.
Spokes, like bicycle spokes,
Like
maybe?
Spokes.
Yeah.
I assume
Maybe
that's bike
bicycles,
lanes.
yeah.
I assume that's bike lanes. Number two, in the second lawsuit, the Community Health Worker Grant was funded by the CARES Act in 2020. There was a vaccination grant that was awarded under the Immunization and Vaccines for Children program. The VFC program existed for 30 years. And the ELC program, which was established by the CDC, existed since 1995. All right, so two lawsuits, one a health-related grant and the other a transportation-related grant. So I did a little additional sleuthing, and I talked to some of my sources, and we got to the bottom of the monies that we're talking about regarding those grants. And I have some of that for you, and I want to share it with you. Now, understand the amount of money that we are talking about amounts to ultimately an infinitesimal amount when you talk about the totality of the budget in Davidson County. But I had some of my sources research a few of these accusations on the part of these lawsuits. And this is what we found out. I'm going to read from it. For the first lawsuit involving transportation grants, the court has determined that there is jurisdiction, and the court found that the proper source of the plaintiff right was in federal law, and they're working through whether or not these are properly filed lawsuits or not. So in the first lawsuit involving transportation grants, the government has acknowledged that grants have been frozen on a mass or not individualized basis. They were frozen because they are allegedly not consistent with agency policy. The federal government was ordered to produce documentation regarding the freeze of that money. That is transportation or infrastructure money. For the second lawsuit, according to the legal department in the city of Nashville, in the second lawsuit involving health grants, the complaint has been filed. There's a hearing on a preliminary injunction set for May 21st. Understand, none of this has affected any activity going on currently in the city of Nashville. These are pending lawsuits where the city of Nashville is expending additional dollars in an attempt to keep the federal money that's being cut. Secondarily, the understanding coming from the health department is that there are three grants: a community health worker grant for $400,000, the ELC grant at $7 million, and the immunization money at $3.3 million that was lost. So that amounts to about a little over $10 million that was canceled. The amount of funding actually lost is not likely to be the full amount of $11 million, as the health department, according to the city, was not on track to spend all of those funds by the end of 2026 when they would have expired anyway. The expiration is currently lost by March 25th of 2026. That, according to legal, in the mayor's office. Now, I understand I just threw a lot of numbers at you. The reason I threw those numbers at you is simple. The mayor is attempting to shield what was a planned property tax increase by suggesting to you that the city is losing all of this money, that much of which would have gone away anyway, and none of which the city should depend on to operate its basic functions to begin with. The city of Nashville should not depend on borrowed money from the federal government in the form of grants to run its city streets, to run its police department, to run health and safety, to run transportation. A city that is depending on free money from the federal government to run basic day-to-day operations is not a city that is on good financial footing. And I would suggest that perhaps, just perhaps, you should not be making grandiose plans to expand the footprint of your bus program, as an example, when you can't fund the current operations without borrowing money against the good faith and credit of the federal government. A promise of one-time money or a promise of grant money for this period in time is not a promise for eternal money from the federal government. And it's high time that not just Nashville, but cities all across America began to learn that. Cities have to operate on their own. It is a fact that many cities, larger cities, even in red states like Tennessee, and frankly, even the state of Tennessee, and I don't know that the state is doing it so much. I don't want to cast a... I almost said it. I stopped myself. I don't want to cast, you know what, at state lawmakers. You know, I will give credit to the guy that told me that I said that too much. I have noticed how much I say it since he said that. And I think I say a lot of things a lot. But if your effective goal was to stop me from saying it, you have achieved said goal, because I think about it every time I do. And I wish I could remember your name. Anyway, the state of Tennessee would suggest that they are not relying on borrowed money, but they are relying on some federal dollars. And it is high time that the states stop depending on that federal money, because that federal money is not endless. And that is one thing that DOJ has taught us, despite the fact that our House of Representatives and our Senate in the Congress in the United States of America doesn't seem to care that much about DOJ or anything else the Donald Trump administration is doing, because I got a bone to pick with the Republicans in the Congress as well. So all of that to say, the amount of monies that we are talking about is roughly about $10 million on the health side. I don't know how much it is on the transportation side. I could not get those dollars and cents on the transportation side, but they are frozen for now, but these are dollars that would have gone away eventually anyway, and the city should not depend on them in the future. Period. End of the discussion. And if you have to raise taxes as a result, admit that it was your issue for relying on federal money that you did not or should not have been able to depend on to run day-to-day operations within the city. 615-737-9986 is our telephone number. We would love to talk to you. We will continue this discussion, and we'll get to Fri-Jay coming up in just a moment. It's 52 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for USS, United Structural Systems. If you're concerned about foundation at your house, your foundation at your home, if you're concerned about waterproofing, if you've noticed any of the signs that we talk about from time to time, there is only one company you will hear me recommend, and that company is United Structural Systems. They are simply the best at what they do. They are problem solvers when they come to your home. They will come out, they will give you an examination, and they'll let you know what they find. Now, if you've noticed some of the signs, things like windows or doors sticking. If you've gone down into the basement and you've smelled a musty or a moldy smell, waterproofing issues oftentimes run hand in hand with foundation issues and vice versa. And these things can cause major problems down the road. Let's cut this off at the pass by calling USS, United Structural Systems. Homeowners simply trust USS. Online, you can go to USSTN.com. I encourage you to do that. Almost 30,000 satisfied customers over the last 30-plus years have trusted USS. There's also a telephone number. Give a call, 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for our friends at USS. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Genesis Diamonds. Genesis Diamonds is your one-stop destination for all things Mother's Day, and I understand you don't have a lot of time. I mean, you've got today, you've got tomorrow, and then boom, Mother's Day is here. Genesis has put together an incredible selection of Mother's Day gifts, however, that are both affordable and stylish. Here's the deal, guys. I understand that you don't know a lot about buying diamonds. I get it because I'm right there in the boat with you. However, when you walk through the doors at Genesis Diamonds, they are non-commissioned sales folks. That means you don't have to worry about the high pressure that you get at some places. Number two, they're going to walk you through and feed you baby birds as to the diamond buying experience. Or maybe it's a beautiful pre-owned Rolex watch that you're thinking about getting mama. If that's the case, boy, that's a home run gift. Thirdly, they don't pressure you, they educate you, and they stay within your budget. All you have to do is tell them kind of what your budget is for mama this year, and they're going to stay within that budget. They've got something for every price point. Whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 61st Mother's Day, let's do something special for mama this year. At Genesis Diamonds, dinner out is nice. Flowers are expected. A card is nice, but let's do that home run gift that she'll talk about for years and years to come. A beautiful diamond pendant or a bracelet or a necklace or earrings from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs, tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Genesis.
ICE detentions update in Nashville and elected Democratic leaders in New Jersey arrested at an ICE detention facility. These stories and more coming up at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, here's what some of that sounded like. There's Ross Baraka.
You cannot push it. You cannot hold this.
That's lawmakers. That's elected officials. They might be saying nasty words, and I'm not supposed to be broadcasting them. But, they're screaming, they're yelling over at the ICE detention facility. We're going to get into it fully with our man, Jay St. Clair. He's got a thought on all of this happening in Nashville. And where y'all at, Nashville Metro Council people? Where's Sepulveda, whose name I'm learning to pronounce correctly?
She's driving around in that little car.
That itty-bitty, that's like a smart car or something like that, isn't it? I've got
smart if you ask me.
I've got some of that audio too. By the way, it's my understanding that she was told by Dietz, the lawyer for the city, that she needed to stop all that crap.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that she was told to cease and desist, not just cease, not just desist, cease and desist on filming ICE. Otherwise, she was going to get her butt in the back of that vehicle too and be taken to jail. More coming up in just a moment. It's 4 o'clock on Super Talk.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. ICE detentions continue in Nashville. We heard from Metro Police Chief John Drake today.
Our police department had no knowledge of any ICE enforcement going on this past weekend. In fact, I was not even aware of any actions going on until about midday Sunday morning when I was contacted by the mayor's office.
That's when it all started. Channel 4's Jordan James updates the latest numbers provided by ICE.
Over the last few days, Tennessee Highway Patrol has been working with federal agencies. They've made nearly 600 traffic stops that have led to at least 103 people being taken into ICE custody. Among those were reportedly gang members and felons, according to ICE. The federal agency has yet to release the names and charges of those detained.
Meanwhile, in New Jersey, this was the scene outside an ICE detention center facility in Newark where Mayor Ross Baraka and 3 Democratic members of Congress were arrested for allegedly trespassing, ignoring Homeland Security investigators' warnings to remove themselves. This is a facility where the interim U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey says there are alleged killers, MS-13 gang members, and child rapists and more being held. Mayor Baraka's office claims he was there for oversight after the building was turned into an ICE facility. Air traffic control radar screens briefly went black at Newark Airport again this morning. At a briefing, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying federal officials are on it.
DOT and the FAA are working to address this technical issue tonight to prevent further outages, as well as install new fiber from Newark Airport to Philadelphia. And the goal is to have the totality of this work done by the end of the summer.
This is the second outage at Newark and the third in the Northeast in the last 2 weeks. And as GOP lawmakers work on a budget bill, one of President Trump's posts to Truth Social this morning says he's willing to accept a tax increase to help lower and middle-income workers.
The president in this Truth Social post said he would be, quote, fine with Republican lawmakers raising taxes on the wealthy, but he acknowledged the political challenges of doing so. But if you read this post, his position still remains unclear. He's writing that even a tiny tax increase on the rich would lead to criticism from Democrats. He goes on to say that Republicans probably should not pursue it. But then he adds, quote, I'm okay if they do.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, police reporting an injury crash, Murfreesboro Pike, east of Hamilton Church Road. And then we got 65 southbound at Briley Parkway, Ellington Parkway. There's a crash there blocking the Gore in Madison. 24 eastbound near Sam Ridley Parkway. A furniture dolly in the left lane there in Smyrna. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, kids, it's just after 4 o'clock, 4:06 to be precise. My name is Matt Murphy, and I'm very cold in a lot of different ways.
Got the AC on in there, buddy?
I don't know what's going on in here. I did not dress for the weather. I did not dress appropriately. I dressed as if I were in a lounge chair at a cabana somewhere.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm not happy with Mother Nature right now.
I bet you're not.
I mean, it's 73 right now.
Is it?
Is it? It's not 73 in here. Even with all these lights, it's like 68.
That's nice in here.
Is it now? Can we switch?
Nope. I'm good. I got the short pants on, too. I'm not switching.
Yeah,
Weaver got short pants
I got
on?
short pants.
Yeah, three for three then on the short pants. Is it cold in there, Weaver?
No, sir, but I do have a space heater going.
They get you a window in there yet?
No. I'm just stuck looking at you guys.
The back of my head.
Which I'm sure is going to be real fun come football season.
That's the worst. Oh, no, I've been doing a little, now that we're at 100 days, Weaver.
Yes.
I take a break. I don't need to do all the, look, we're getting this junior from high school and that junior. I don't do all of that crap.
Yeah,
I check out, right? I mean, you check out Weber?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. All that recruiting stuff, I check out.
Wait till they're on the field.
Yes, sir.
But I admit that when we roll in from 100 days to 99 days, that's when I realize, hey, it's coming.
Yes, sir.
You can see it on the horizon.
It's off in the distance, and I start paying a little bit of attention. And everybody's saying Oklahoma is the team to watch. And I'm not saying this to make you mad at me, Ken.
I'm not listening.
I'm telling you, that's what everybody's saying, is that they are the team to watch in the SEC.
Well, that's whenever you know you're in trouble. When everybody starts talking about you.
Well,
I'd just rather come in stealth. Kind of like we did last season.
I feel like y'all upgraded at quarterback, right?
We did. Well, we upgraded. We upgraded in a lot of areas.
That's
mainly offensive coordinator and quarterback.
That's one of those weird deals where everybody won. Arnold goes to Auburn. Auburn upgraded their quarterback situation. Y'all got, I forget the fellow's name.
John Mateer.
There you go. Upgraded at y'all's quarterback situation. Everybody's going to be the better for it. At least that's what the prognosticators are telling me.
Well,
and they're always right.
Here's the thing,
course,
though.
yeah.
John Mateer has not faced an SEC defense or an SEC schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been taking those offensive linemen out to dinner every week, I understand.
Well, that's true.
Keep doing that.
That's true, because because a lot of at least what I saw, and I know you watched much more Oklahoma Sooner football than I did, Ken.
Yes, sir.
But what I saw is you can't throw from your back.
No, you can't throw the ball if you don't have it because a defender is hitting you before it even gets to you.
Well, football will be here before you know it.
I can't wait.
I'll be at a football stadium tomorrow night.
What are you going to be doing?
I'll be at Nissan Stadium tomorrow night.
What's happening there?
I'll be able to give y'all a progress report on that brand new stadium they're building over there.
Oh, yeah.
The Savannah Bananas are in town.
Oh, yeah.
At Nissan Stadium?
They're going to Nissan Stadium.
Wow.
First Horizon Park wasn't big enough.
Wow.
We went to the first Horizon Park event. I guess it was 2 years ago, and it was packed out. And the Savannah Bananas are such a hot ticket.
Oh, yeah.
That while they were scheduling this year, they decided to schedule it at Nissan, and they have put a baseball stadium on top of the football field.
Nice.
And I don't know how many tickets they've sold, but it's a lot more than the 10,000 that they sold at First Horizon. So
Interesting.
me and 45,000 of my best friends will be there tomorrow night.
Yeah, should be a good time.
Y'all wave at. Come find me. I'll be the guy in the hat. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986 if you'd like to get in here, particularly with your legal questions. Because, ladies and germs, at 10 minutes after 4 o'clock, I am pleased to announce it's Fri-Jay. It's official. Our legal correspondent, he's a good Tennessee man. He's my lawyer, my best friend, my legal correspondent, and occasionally we do some real estate investment work, and we throw a little bones. He's my man, Jay St. Clair, and he's on Fri-Jay. Hey, Jay.
Hey, Matt.
Jay, I have a question for you.
All right.
How's it going?
You know, if I were any better, right now, this very moment, I would be bent over a craps table next to my best friend. I'd be standing on his right. Working on a hard 10.
Standing up.
Working on a hard 10.
It took me like 4 years to realize that I needed to stand to your left. For those who don't understand, this is fun. This is best friend talk, right? This is fun. Because, if you've ever played the game of craps, and I won't get too deep into it, but it goes around, and if you want to shoot dice, I mean, that's a big moment for you at the table.
Yeah, right.
And Jay...
It goes clockwise.
And it goes clockwise. And Jay is very good at it. And I will say that. There are some people that just have a knack for it. And some people that try to have a knack for it. I'm one of these people that try to have a knack for it. I still win a lot of money because my best friend is standing there, and he's got a knack for it.
Well, it's all that fiddling forward.
Well, I got told that I'd be kicked out if I kept fiddling forward. But Jay also Jay likes to step away from the table after he rolls.
Yeah.
And so
if it's a 45-minute roll, man, I got to go smoke. 45 minutes on the dice table is a long time.
So I, for some reason, would position myself to the left of Jay. And one trip I noticed that Jay was never there. When I was doing good, when I was like hitting my numbers, I'd look to my buddy, and my buddy's gone. It's like, where'd my buddy go? Oh, he went to smoke. So I realized when I position myself, I have to position myself on Jay's right. And
exactly.
we got it down now, buddy.
Oh yeah,
we've got it down. Well, I look forward to it. We've got a real estate seminar scheduled for next week.
Yep.
And it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think the weather will be good.
Jay, we got a lot of activity going on in Nashville, although I think New Jersey is telling the city of Nashville
Here, hold my beer.
So, I asked you, I said, Jay, I don't know if you've noticed this, but what do you make of it? I mean, it seems pretty clear cut that the state and the federal government have initiated in this health and safety action that really doesn't have anything to do with the city, honestly.
Yep. No, frankly, it looks pretty routine to me from a distance, man. I hadn't really done a deep dive on it. But, I mean, it's Trump keeping a campaign promise, right? I mean, that was probably his biggest single promise in the campaign. And then he's going to secure the border and then get rid of all the bad people that are here. And that's just what they're doing. And, they've got a plan. I guarantee you they have a very specific plan. And they're going from location to location. And this week this week, I guess, happened to be Nashville's turn. And, the amazing thing to me, Matt, we have no idea how much information they have about who they're looking for, but they have a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot.
That's right.
They know exactly who they're looking for. They know exactly where they are. They know exactly what they look like. They know exactly who their friends are. And they are being very methodical about this.
I find it very interesting. And, Jay and I often talk about, his world is the legal world. My world is kind of the political world. And they meet so much nowadays, especially with all these lawsuits that the libs are filing. But and this might be a little more in my arena, but I'm fascinated with these same individuals that told us for 4 years during the Biden administration that nobody is above the law.
Right.
They now believe that there are certain classes of people that are above the law, and they're not even suggesting it anymore. They're saying it out loud that it's wrong to arrest or detain people who are found to be in the United States of America illegally. And I'm just fascinated by their lack of logic there.
Matt, consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds.
I guess.
No, to me, it just shows how rudderless the Democratic Party is right now. They don't have a platform. They don't have a program. They're not for anything, man. They're just against Trump, basically. I mean, their platform is Orange Man bad and anything he does. I don't know. I haven't heard any of them say, what should we do about violent, illegal aliens living in the United States? Well, if you don't think what they're doing is right, what's your plan?
Yeah, what should we be doing?
Right. What's your plan? Mm-hmm. And then the same thing about Doge, when they say all this awful is terrible. Well, my question is, we are $35 trillion in debt. If we stay on the path we are now, we as a nation will go bankrupt. What is your plan? If you don't like the Trump plan, what is your plan? Well, they don't have one.
Well, and they're at a loss outside of just objecting to whatever's going on in eloquently telling the American people what that plan would be, or not. I mean, it doesn't have to be eloquent. Just tell us what the plan is, like you say.
They don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. And they don't have a plan for dealing with these violent criminals from other countries that are in our country. I mean, it's very simple. Arrest them and get them out of here.
That's right.
How can that be controversial, man?
Well, and I used an analogy the other day, Jay, and I think you'll appreciate this, that, you remember the house that I had in Helena with that really sloped backyard? You remember that?
No, I remember it well. Absolutely.
Jay asked me one day, he looked at me, and what'd you say? He said, how many times?
No, first time I was out there, when we went out to your back porch, and it was about a 45-degree slope. I looked at you and said, Matt, how many times have you fallen down that hill?
I said, I don't think any. And you said, come on. And I guess I had fallen down it once or twice when I was trying to weed eat the darn thing. But no, so that slope, leaves would fall out of the trees, and they would collect on that back fence line. And so when I moved into that house, I used this as an analogy, right? There had been so many leaves compacting over the years that it had literally raised the ground level on my side of the fence by like 2 feet. Yeah. And John Henry could look over. He could have stepped over that fence, right?
That's funny.
So I had to do something about it. And so the top layer was easy. It was just, you get the leaf blower out there and you just blow off the top layer of leaves. And then the second layer was pretty easy. You get a rake and you start raking off. Well, you get to a point, it's been compacting for so long, you start getting down to the leaves are turning into soil. And you have to ask yourself a question. What's the best way to deal with this? Mm-hmm. And I understand, and I'm compassionate for people who have been here for a long, long time, who came in illegally, who have done nothing else illegal outside of that initial act, who have been fooled by Democrats into believing.
And Republicans.
And Republicans. That's true. That's fair. Have been fooled by these politicians over the years into believing that if they just lay low for a particular amount of years, that they'll be forgiven. And I think there's some people in our communities that are here illegally that believe that.
Well, they ought to. They've been told it for many, many years.
Right. And I feel bad for those folks. And I don't think that many of these people will ever be removed from the United States of America. But we have to get rid of that top layer of leaves first. those criminal elements that are here that are recently coming to this country for those purposes before we can deal with the other folks.
What a great analogy, man. You're so smart.
Well, no, I learned from the best. All right, we got some callers coming in. If you've got a question for Jay St. Clair, he is here for us on Fri-Jay, and a lot of people are already asking some questions, and we'll get to them in just a moment. It's 20 minutes after the hour, and I want to make sure that my favorite question involves $400 in a crayon, and we'll get to that one first and next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, Matt Murphy, Efficient Heating and Cooling wants to remind you of their maintenance guarantee that's available for you right now. Call Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling, and here's the deal. They'll come out and they'll maintenance your AC unit for the summer months because that's when it's most likely to break down, obviously, because it's working harder during the summer than it would during the spring or the fall or any other time of year. So the maintenance guarantee is simple. One, you're never going to be charged over $125 for a residential maintenance call on your AC unit. And if they find something, they'll alert you to it, and they'll figure it out from there. Now, after that maintenance call has been completed, if for any reason you have to call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling back to your home for your AC unit this summer season, they're going to waive the service fee on that call. Why? Because they want you to get your unit maintenance because it's a big expense, and it's likely to go out earlier if you don't get that maintenance done. Call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling for that maintenance guarantee at 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or go to efficienthvac.net. That's efficienthvac.net. If your AC is not ready, call my man, Jeff Eddy, and Efficient Heating and Cooling.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
Metro Police Chief John Drake speaks up on ICE detentions and a new tool in the fight against cancer, another air traffic control blackout, and an FDA warning about so-called gas station heroin coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN 425. Before we get to Jay St. Clair questions, there's a question for me. Oh, I think I'll pose this one to Jay, too. If you have any questions, give us a call, 615-737-9986. Fri-Jay is in progress at 425. Jay, here's my question to you.
Yes, sir.
What are the Savannah Bananas? Because that was a question posed to me.
They are the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, and they are incredibly athletic, incredibly funny, and one of the best things best live shows own right now. I've seen some of their plays are just amazing.
I am surprised. You know, we've known each other long enough that I admit that rarely do I get as surprised as I am right now. I would have bet you wouldn't know that, but you your level of pop culture knowledge just went up a notch or two, Jay. That's good.
Well, I mean, something like the Savannah Bananas, you know, it sneaks through. I mean, they are great. I mean, they're just absolutely. And the umpires, it's just like, well, I don't think the umpires got in the act with the Globetrotters. They were kind of the straight men.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the umpires do these gymnastic moves.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. It's just really great.
Well, they are in town at Nissan this weekend, and we are going. And I've seen them once before, and we got a chance to go to First Horizon. We got invited a couple of years ago, and we're going back. And it is look. And if you ever have a chance, the owner of that group is named Jesse Cole, and he was a baseball player and got hurt. Yeah. And he tells his backstory is amazing, and he has developed something. I mean, he just caught fire in a bottle.
And he said, I'm not selling. I don't care if Elon Musk offers me $1 billion. I am not selling.
I love that. I think they're expanding too. I think he's planning on a couple more teams. But it's a great entrepreneurial story, and good for them. Good for them. It's a lot of fun. All right, let's get a few questions. First question from the Peanut Gallery. Jay, I got $400 in a crayon. Can I get a divorce?
Well, you can file for divorce for that, but I can tell you from personal experience that it's going to cost a lot more than $400. But that'll get you in the courthouse.
That'll get you in the door at least.
Yeah, but no, you better have more than that.
Well, I thought that your answer would be something similar along those lines. Larry's in Clarksville with a question for Jay St. Clair and Fri-Jay. Hey, Larry.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
And I think you need to start introducing him as Sir Jay.
Well, I'm willing to knight him, Larry. If you give me the ability, we will knight Sir Jay St. Clair.
Let's knight him right now.
I'm all
I
in.
appreciate that. You know the movie with a guy coming out playing me has now been released, Matt. So,
ooh, what's its name, Jay?
I can't remember. No, I wanted Tommy Lee Jones to play me.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't. They didn't have that big of a budget.
I bet they call it something like Lily or something.
Yeah. On a more serious subject.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm really trying hard to watch my language because I don't get put on super secret probation. But the DA in Savannah that refused to file charges against the drunk driver who registered a .35, and the Georgia State Police and two of the local Savannah police let him drive off after he killed my great nephew. Okay.
Yeah, I just figured out which Larry this is. Good to hear from you, buddy.
Well, so that district attorney is about to lose her law license. So the new district attorney came in, and he swore to our family that he was going to make sure this case got resolved. Well, it went to court. The judge dismissed the damn case.
Wow.
Jay, I've tried to call the Attorney General for Georgia. I've tried to call the damn governor of Georgia.
Right.
Larry, Hank, just hold on a second. Just collect your question there for just a minute. I put Larry on hold, and we will get back to the question in front of Sir Jay St. Clair in just a moment. It is 4:30, but right now it's time for the news. And Jay, you will not believe what day Lily, the movie's being released. Do you know?
Well, I thought it was May 9th.
It's today.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned.
Yeah. Oh my! I'm very excited. I have to go see this just to see who's playing Jay St. Clair. You're right there. It's a fellow by the name of Darren Toonder.
Right.
I've never heard of him, but you're going to make him famous. It's 31 after the hour on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, we're hearing from Metro Police Chief John Drake on the ICE detentions.
Please hear me when I say this. Immigration status is irrelevant to what we do as a police department. We rely on everyone, regardless of race, gender, ethnicity.
Yeah, he says Metro Police will not be taking part in the current operation. ICE says it has detained more than 100 people from nearly 600 traffic stops. Tennessee state troopers say they've arrested 12 people for DUI, child endangerment, felony evading arrest, drug arrests, 5 felony wanted persons among those 12. A new tool in the fight against cancer. Sony Salzman says the FDA's approved the first at-home test that would help people detect the virus that causes cervical cancer.
The test is called Teal Wand, and a study conducted by the company suggests that this self-collection kit is equally as effective as those more invasive pap smears in a doctor's office. The hope that more women will screen themselves at home. The kit will be available by prescription, and kits will start shipping in June.
More than 4,000 women die from cervical cancer each year, and it's preventable. Air traffic control radar screens briefly went black at Newark Airport again early this morning. At a briefing, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying the Department of Transportation and FAA addressing the issue tonight.
That glitch was caused by the same telecoms and software issues that were raised last week. Everything went back online after the brief outage, and there was no operational impact.
Leavitt says new fiber will be installed from Newark Airport to Philadelphia by the end of the summer. This is the second outage at Newark and the third in the Northeast in the last 2 weeks. And the FDA is out with a warning against so-called gas station heroin, tianeptine, linked to serious harm, including death, and it's in products sold under names such as Tiana, Zaza, Neptune's Fix, Pegasus, and TD Red. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Going to have a big issue in Antioch. We've got an overturned vehicle. It is blocking the right 2 lanes, 24 westbound at Hickory Hollow Parkway. Got a crash reported by police, 40 westbound before McCrory Lane. And then 24 eastbound past Hickory Hollow Parkway. Crash over on the right shoulder there in Antioch. Over by the airport, police reporting a crash, 40 westbound after Briley Parkway. Then in Madison, police reporting a crash blocking the Gore there, 65 southbound at Briley Parkway, Ellington Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, with sleep apnea, it causes major medical issues for some people that can be dangerous, even life-threatening. You don't want to simply, quote-unquote, live with sleep apnea. That's where the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center comes in. Dr. Brian McLaughlin wants to say hello to you. Dr. Stephen Paz left a legacy and has left a legacy for Dr. McLaughlin to build on in both Murfreesboro, Brentwood, and all points in between. It's as simple as this. If you snore at night, if you believe you're not breathing throughout the course of the night, if you wake up in fits and starts, you need to get a sleep test and get that sleep test done and get in contact with Dr. Brian McLaughlin because he can fit you with an oral appliance, FDA approved, that can help you sleep better. I use one on a nightly basis, and I want you to use one as well. They're in insurance for most insurance companies in the state of Tennessee, and plus they're a community care provider for the VA. They're helping veterans sleep and live better. Go to TennesseeSleep.com. That's TennesseeSleep.com. It's the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center with Dr. Brian McLaughlin. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I want to spend a moment just before Mother's Day talking to you about an organization that so believes in mamas out there and prospective mamas. It's the organization that is Preborn. Preborn's network of clinics exists exclusively to offer love, life, and support to pregnant mothers in the United States of America and right here in Nashville, Tennessee, who are feeling scared and alone and are being pressured to make decisions that perhaps could sacrifice not just the life of their baby, but take a piece of their heart as well. When a mother comes to Preborn, she is welcomed with open arms and offered a free ultrasound so that she can get the full picture of the child growing inside of her so she can hear and see the precious life inside of her. And the majority of the time when she sees that ultrasound, she chooses life, not because of pressure, not because of tactics, because of life and because of love. This Mother's Day, you can help bring life to both a mother and an at-risk baby. $28 can buy an ultrasound. 5 ultrasounds are $140. Every penny goes to helping a mother in crisis. Visit preborn.com/Murphy. That's preborn.com/Murphy. Thank you for doing so, and give as you can to Preborn. It is Fri-Jay with our man Jay St. Clair. We'll get back to your questions momentarily. 615-737-9986. If you have a pithy legal question, please ask at those numbers. You can either call us up or you can hit us up on the super text line. I have a follow-up, Jay. The gentleman that said, I have $400 and a crayon, can that get me a divorce?
Right.
He has you have given a response, and he has a 2-word follow-up to your response. You want to hear it?
Sure.
Dang it. Which I thought was...
Well, here is my advice to this man. Let's see. Let me ask this. Ken, are you listening?
I am, Brother Jay.
Ken, do you know why divorces are so expensive?
Uh-oh.
No, I do not.
They're worth it. They're worth it.
Notice the 3 married fellas are just sitting back.
I've never heard that, and
I
I'm going
love
to use
that.
it.
I've told that to clients a lot because we having a problem with employees. And there's this, I was saying, well, you just need to give them a separation agreement.
Yeah.
And then, well, I don't know if I want to do that. I'll say, you know why divorces are so expensive? No, why? Because they're worth it.
Yep. You've told me, not in that way, Jay, but you've told me in the past because, I get all janky about settlements. You know me. And I'm like, well, if the company, dadgummit, Jay, if the company you're representing didn't do anything wrong, why would you settle? Because sometimes it's worth it.
That's
right. Andy writes in and says, I drove down St. Clair Street in the borough the other day.
Nice.
He follows up and says, I pulled over and I was getting ready to steal the sign for Jay, but my square-ass kids wouldn't let me.
Well, Andy, trust me, my brother, and my cousins have stolen that sign many, many times.
That is awesome.
I think it's probably named after my grandfather. I think he was the station master at the train depot there. I think that's right. But yeah, no, that's funny. And now I'm glad it's still there, and I think it's grown up around there a little bit, and some business. I think a retirement center or something that carries the St. Clair name. So. That's cool. I was in Murfreesboro, boy, when it wasn't part of Nashville when I was there.
It was, look, I just did a deep dive into Antioch, and there was a time where people thought Antioch was way out of town. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now it's just been absorbed.
Jay, I got to tell you about Murfreesboro right now, man.
Oh, yeah?
At every traffic light, there's at least 2,000 people in front of you.
Do you live in the borough?
I do. I do.
Wow.
I live west of 24, which I hear tell from folks, like you from Murfreesboro. West of 24 back in the day was it was nothing.
Well,
boy, it's bustling today.
I was there before I-24.
Oh.
I know. We're talking about 1960s.
Oh, yeah. Murfreesboro is just kind of a bump in the road between Chattanooga and Nashville, I imagine.
Ooh, it's booming now.
Oh, yeah.
It's a neat place. I love Murfreesboro. I love Middle Tennessee, but I got a lot of fond memories of Murfreesboro.
Okay, Larry, let's boil it down to the question, Larry. What was your question for Jay?
Well, first of all, Jay, I was before I-24 from Nashville to Clarksville, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever. But my question to you, Jay, is what can we do to get justice?
Yeah, no, I figured that's going to be the question, Larry, and you're not going to like my answer. There's not a lot, to be perfectly honest with you, but here's what you can do. You've probably already done it. Number one thing is I'd start with the prosecutor. It sounds like the prosecutor is on your side, and that's the person that's in the system, and you got to work within the system. And so, just stay in touch with the prosecutor. Ask the prosecutor. The best thing you can do is ask the prosecutor, what can you do? It's tough about the judges because I'm pretty sure in Georgia judges are appointed, so you can't vote him out. But the governor's office is the place there to apply the pressure. You've done that. But I'm just going to tell it to you like it is, Larry.
Well,
the justice system is not perfect. We have, I think, probably one of the best justice systems in the world, but it is not perfect. Mistakes are made, and when they're made, there's just no way to correct them.
Well, let me just say this, Jay. Off the record, I got a darn backhoe.
Larry, I'm not insensitive to this, but I'm not insensitive. I'm not insensitive to your plight. Well, I want to get other folks a chance in here, Larry.
All right. I'm just saying, but
well,
I wouldn't do that, Larry. I wouldn't do it, Larry. It ain't worth it.
I know, but this guy getting away with this.
Larry, no, I love you, but nobody else listening knows what you're talking about right now, and I don't have the time to get into it. And I love you, and I appreciate you, and I think you and Jay have had that conversation. But let's go to Garrett in Murfreesboro. Garrett has a question for Jay St. Clair. Garrett, you're on.
Yes, I do. The typical cost for a husband and wife will, just
Right.
a basic will, power of attorney, the end of life questions, dispersion of property, and that sort of thing. And our kids would be the beneficiaries.
Right.
So what's like a Middle Tennessee an attorney cost of a will?
Couple of grand. Unless you've got a really complicated estate, you ought to be able to get that done for a couple of grand, Garrett. Have you been shopping?
Well, we know someone, and I hadn't really been shopping.
Okay.
But I hadn't. I've listened to you all every Friday, and this was something I'm getting ready to do, and I thought I need to call and ask.
No, it's great question. I hadn't priced it up there in a while, but a couple of grand. They charge by the hour, and let's say
Okay.
$400 an hour, and something like that's easily done in 5 hours. So
Okay.
that's where
All
I'm
right.
coming. That's where I'm coming up with the number $2 grand. You may get it for a little bit less.
Okay. Well, that's
like I
really-
say, just if you're not doing any trust or anything like that, if it's just a off the shelf will, if you can't get anybody to do it for $2 grand, call me. I'll find somebody. I will find somebody to draft you a will for $2,000.
Well, there's not a trust, and our assets are under $2 million total.
Yeah,
And
no, it'll be pretty
I wish
straightforward.
it were more.
Yeah, well,
Do
I
what?
get it, but I mean, so the only beneficiaries, you want to take care of. One of them is going to probably die first, so you want to take care of that situation, and then it goes to the children. The only thing that's a little bit tricky there, are the children both yours? Are they yours and your wife's?
Yes, that's correct. We are not a blended family.
Yeah, okay. So, whoever dies first, the wife's going to get at least 30, 40. Y'all probably been married a long time. She's by law has to get 30 or 40%. And then the kids will get the rest. Now, whenever who goes first, then whoever's left, now it's just their estate, and they don't have to leave it to the kids. But that's probably what's going to happen here.
Well, she will, but wouldn't she get? Wouldn't she get 100% if I died
Well,
first?
it depends on how you write the will.
Well, I'd want her to have 100% of it.
Well, that's smart.
And then
you're a good man, Garrett. I like these questions a whole lot better than divorce questions. How long have you been married?
For just about 40 years, close to it.
That's great.
Dang.
That's
Boy,
great, Garrett.
You're a lot better husband than I was.
Mm-hmm. Garrett, thank you for the call. I'm going to move on to a few others before we run out of time for Jay St. Clair and our Fri-Jay segment. It is David's turn. He's in Gallatin. David's got a question for Jay.
Yes, I do. 3 weeks ago, my daughter bought a car from a dealership in Nashville. She paid $5,000 down on it, credit check, all the paperwork done, everything approved, no problems. Your payments are due and all that good stuff. And now they're saying she needs to come back and pay $2,000 more because she's self-employed.
And I guess your question is, can they do that?
Yes, can they do that?
Well, here's my question, David. She should have a signed agreement with the dealership. And no, if she's got a signed deal, she's got a signed deal, David. She's not obligated to change anything in the agreement. Now, if there is something in the agreement, for example, if she was not truthful about what her employment status was, if she didn't tell them the truth, then she's got an issue. And they can come back and say, hey, we didn't know that, so we got to charge a higher interest rate. That's what they're getting at, right? They want to make sure they get paid. If somebody's got a steady job, then they get a lower interest rate than somebody that's self-employed. That's what this is all about. But if she didn't mislead them and she's got a signed agreement, then she's got a deal, David. Don't go down there and pay them $2,000.
It's the whole thing. It says your first payment's due on such date. The payment's this amount, whatever.
Right.
And Is
No,
she
I
good?
wouldn't pay him any. No, I wouldn't pay him any extra money. I'd use that money and go buy some Savannah banana tickets.
Well, you're going to need all of it. I'll tell you that.
Have I answered your question, David?
Yeah, just tell
David,
them. Just tell them to honor the agreement, right?
Yeah, say
Right.
no. We got a deal. No, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, it should be nice. She needs to respond to them, but call them back and say, "Well, I don't understand. We have a deal in writing that's signed.
Right.
I don't see why I have to pay you any more money."
Let us know how it goes, David. We appreciate that telephone call. Nicholas, we'll get one more. Nicholas is on the road. Question for Jay St. Clair.
Yes, my question is an easement question. In 2021, I got a signed easement from a family member, and everything was good. I didn't get started building until this year. I got my building permits, driveway permit going, and now the family member wants to charge me money for the easement.
Did you pay for the easement when you got it? Did you pay for the easement when you got it?
Yes. No. No payment was required. No payment was needed. Now all of a sudden payment is needed.
Yeah, and the question is, can they do that?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they can, Nicholas. I mean, I'd have to see the easement. This is where the law gets very technical. We'd have to see exactly if it's a revocable easement or not. And so without looking at the document, I can't give you a definitive answer, but I'm going to guess it's probably not revocable or doesn't have any kind of conditions on it. And if that's true, then no, I do not think by law they can do that. But now you got to think about this. As family member, I don't know how much money you're talking about. They gave you something for free. So legally, you may not be obligated to pay him anything. But if you were coming to me as your lawyer, I would say you need to think about this. Because if it's not a lot of money, then, it's nice to be on good terms with family members. And if you're getting an easement from them, my guess is they're adjoining landowners, right? And so you're going to be living right there next to them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I just thought that 3,000 was a bit crazy.
Well, is it 3,000 total, or do they want that?
Yeah.
Well, tell them you give them 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah,
Work a little art of the deal on them,
Yeah,
Nicholas.
there you go.
I'd dicker with them a little bit and say, well, that's a little bit high. I appreciate what y'all did, but that sounds a little steep to me. Here's what you need to do, Nicholas. Come up with a number that you would be comfortable paying for.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that number is $2,000, okay? Then your first offer, you want that $2,000 to be the midpoint. So they've offered $3,000. You come back and offer $1,000. That's sending the signal that 2,000 is what you'll pay. Let's say the most you're willing to pay is 1,000. Then I'd start off by saying, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $500. And then you just got to go slow. But I would work a deal with them, Nicholas.
Yeah, that's sage wisdom. All right, 53 after the hour.
Yep.
4,500 says, do y'all have a who can sound the most like Jay contest going on up there? Yes, we do. I sound more like Jay every time I talk about it. Or talk to her. So that's good.
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I sound exactly like Walter Cronkite.
Jay says he doesn't have an accent. Everybody else has an accent.
No, I sound like everybody I know, Sam.
And by the way, this fella that they got playing you in this movie is a good-looking man. So they cast this one right.
Yeah,
what's that fella's name?
That guy's name is Darren Toonder. Darren, Toonder. Darren Toonder is playing Jay St. Clair in the movie Lily, which is out today. And if you go see this movie, you should go for only one reason, and that is to see Jay St. Clair in the film. Jay Patrinda says hello. She says you're her secret crush, and I shouldn't say that on the radio, but I just did. So there you go.
Well, hey, Patrinda, you're my secret crush too now.
Well, there you go. Jay, I love you, brother. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, brother.
All right, take care. There's Jay St. Clair. That's Fri-Jay. We got 2 more hours to go on Murphy Show. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Let's talk for a moment about that European vehicle of yours, and let's talk about people staffing their place of business. Because sadly, the business philosophy with so many of these auto repair shops are that they have just enough people to get by. At Eurofix, they have a very different business philosophy. They staff their locations with actually more people than the average auto repair shop. They do so to be ready to make sure that they are there for you when an emergency pops up. They understand the last thing you want to hear if you have an emergency with your European car and you make a call is, 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away. They don't want to tell you that. They never tell you that at Eurofix. Have you ever noticed how hard it can be with some other guys? To get a right now appointment, almost impossible. Not at Eurofix. They've been offering quality repairs that beat dealer pricing without that overpricing since 1999. Plus a 3-year warranty and the staff to fix your car right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. If you're tired of waiting forever for your automobile, owner Aaron Stokes said, we'll never be too busy for our customers. And they're not. Family owned for 26 years. 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX. Or visit MyEuroFix.com. MyEuroFix.com.
5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. ICE detentions continue in Nashville as part of that joint public safety operation, immigration enforcement operation between Highway Patrol and Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement. We heard from Metro Police Chief John Drake about it today.
Our police department had no knowledge of any ICE enforcement going on this past weekend. In fact, I was not even aware of any actions going on until about midday Sunday morning when I was contacted by the mayor's office.
Channel 4's Jordan James updates the latest numbers provided by ICE.
Over the last few days, Tennessee Highway Patrol has been working with federal agencies. They've made nearly 600 traffic stops that have led to at least 103 people being taken into ICE custody. Among those were reportedly gang members and felons, according to ICE. The federal agency has yet to release the names and charges of those detained.
And in New Jersey today. That was the scene outside an ICE detention facility in Newark where Mayor Ross Baraka and 3 Democratic members of Congress from New Jersey were arrested for alleged trespassing, ignoring Homeland Security investigators' warnings to remove themselves. This is a facility where the interim U.S. attorney for the District of New Jersey says there are alleged killers, MS-13 gang members, child rapists, and more. Mayor Baraka's office claims he was there for oversight after the building was turned into an ICE facility. Answering questions in the Oval Office today while signing new executive orders, President Trump was asked about his post on social media he'd be okay with raising taxes on the wealthy as GOP lawmakers work on a budget bill.
I would love to be able to give people in a lower bracket a big break by giving up some of what I have. But I'll tell you, a lot of people say don't do it because of the fact that you have the Bush statement about read my lips. But he lost because of Ross Perot. He didn't lose because of that statement.
Trump, in his post to Truth Social, said maybe Republicans shouldn't, but he'd be okay with it. On your health, the FDA has approved a do-it-yourself testing kit for cervical cancer. Here's Sherry Preston.
More than 13,000 women are diagnosed with invasive cervical cancer every year, and more than 4,300 die. The disease, however, is preventable with regular screening, but not all women stay up to date with their pap smears. Some forget, some don't want to go into a doctor's office to have it done. Now the at-home testing kit called the Teal Wand has been fully approved by the FDA for at-home use with a prescription.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Goodlettsville got a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane, 65 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. Over by Vanderbilt, police reporting a crash 21st Avenue south at Blakemore Avenue, Wedgwood Avenue. Over in the Nations, 51st Avenue north at Indiana Avenue. Then in Antioch, got a crash off on the right shoulder. Got to slow down to get around it, 24 eastbound past Hickory Hollow Parkway. Also, 24 westbound off-ramp to Hickory Hollow Parkway there. The ramp is accessible after passing the emergency vehicles. And then in Pegram, police reporting a crash 40 westbound before McCrory Lane. Over by the airport, 40 westbound after Briley Parkway. Then in Woodbine, police reporting a crash 440 westbound before Nolensville Pike. In Madison, got a crash reported blocking the Gore, 65 southbound at Briley Parkway, Ellington Parkway. Rivergate, a crash, 65 southbound past Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We have reached our official point where I can say it's the weekend. It's the weekend. There, I've said it.
You mean we can go home?
Nah, not quite for us there, Weaver.
All right.
It ain't the weekend, then.
Some of us are weekend warriors.
Yeah.
And that's us for at least like 2 hours of the weekend.
Yes, sir.
That counts.
Or if nasty weather comes up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we leave it to all of you other weekend warriors. Hey, everybody, welcome in. It is just after 5 o'clock. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There's Ken Weaver. He's back in News Closet B. He delivers headlines twice an hour and when news breaks. Chris Weber controls the entire experience, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. We appreciate him for that. My name is Matt Murphy, and I'm your humble host and correspondent for the next couple of hours when we will hand off to Mark Levin. And the great one will take it from there. All right, we've got lots to get into between now and then. However, your telephone calls, of course, most important. 615-737-9986. We'll have a robust edition of First Amendment Freestyle Friday between now and 7. We'll also have a little nincompoops in the news coming up at about 5:38 or so this afternoon. 9 more arrests were made overnight. By the way, before I get to the arrest, Squirrel, are we officially back to the point where if you're not Catholic, you're not caring about who the Pope is anymore? I think we're there, right?
I think we've reached that point, yeah.
Unless you need to fill 15 minutes on either network.
That's a well-spoken way. I mean, Cardinals reveal what happened inside of the conclave. That's on my TV right now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't care. I mean, they voted, right? The conclave lasted for like 24 hours. It's not like it lasted for 24 days. I think we know what happened. They got together, and they had a little pomp and circumstance and ceremony, and they voted, and then they had to vote a couple more times, and eventually they got to Robert Prevost, who is now Pope Leo XIV. There. And we're done.
It's done deal.
It is a done. What I do find interesting are the number of people that apparently are searching for something to talk about. And I feel like there's plenty to talk about. Hell, Republicans are talking about raising our taxes. Republicans are talking about raising our taxes. Y'all hear me properly? More on that in a moment. But I suppose that some columnists, and maybe these are folks who are of the Catholic faith, and so they are more focused on this issue more so than myself or others who are not. But they seem to want to connect like faith and America and why an American pope was selected. And I mean, this guy lived in Peru for 20 years. He's more of I don't believe. I mean, I suppose it's history. It is history. Obviously, there's never been a quote unquote American pope, and we now have one. But if you reach that level within the Roman Catholic Church, you are beholden to the church. You're beholden to the faith. I don't believe that you feel yourself beholden to any one country over another. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. I don't know. Especially for someone who apparently lived in Peru for the better part of 20 years and has lived in Rome, in the Vatican, in Vatican City, for the last number of years. He was in charge of placing bishops around the world or something or another. So he's more of a world figure anyway than he is an American figure, but that's all well and good. He's an American, and we can claim him, and that's great. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Secondarily, I have been amused by the number, and I really have. I admit to you, I have not read them all, but I have been amused flagging the number of articles that have been written over the last 24 hours, maybe 36 hours, about the significance of the next pope when it comes to world politics, and how maybe, just maybe, I actually saw this one earlier today, and I laughed out loud. I LOL'd. I don't normally LOL. I LOL'd. I did. Well, they said, perhaps they selected an American pope as a ballast against the dangers of Donald Trump. What? Are y'all out of ideas? What are you talking about? A ballast? Because if they picked an American pope, then maybe, what, he can calm Trump down? What are you talking about? I don't even know what any of that means, but I saw it. I think it was on Politico today. Like, so anyone suggesting, I am not I almost said it again. I am not trying to down the Catholic Church when I say this. And I understand that it is very, very important for you Catholics who are listening, and it matters more intimately to you than it's ever going to matter to me because I'm not Catholic. But I don't believe that the Pope has much influence, if any influence, on world affairs anymore. I know that the Pope did for a long, long time. For many, many centuries, the Pope did. The Roman Catholic Church still remains a very important entity in the world. Don't get me wrong with that. But I don't think you can move global politics based on who the Pope is. Otherwise, why did the Ukrainian-Russian war happen? Right? So, I mean, I'll use that as an example. If the Pope is as influential as we would suggest, I mean, I'm not trying to down it. I promise you I'm not. But my goodness, I just don't see where the Pope moves the needle on politics in the way that some have been suggesting over the last 48 hours. And I think we'll just get to a point where we're all going to move on from it. And is he a liberal pope? Is he a conservative pope? The idea that Pope Francis was a more progressive, that's what they called him, a progressive pope, okay? I'm certain that that mattered to Catholics. I'm positive that it did. But it did not matter to me one single bit. Not one bit. And whether or not Leo is a progressive or a conservative or whatever, with all due respect, it doesn't matter to me one bit. It's not going to change my worldview, and it's not going to change the nature of world affairs one bit. And I don't understand those who think it will. I mean, maybe for you personally, it will. As an example, we are told that Pope Francis was all into climate change. He was all about the impact that man has had on planet Earth, and he was all in on the concepts of doing what we needed to do to protect the Earth and, by extension, protect the human beings on it. Did that move any nation on climate change? Not to my knowledge. Not to my understanding. One final aside on this, and then I'll give it up and I'll let you talk on First Amendment Freestyle Friday. I do find it interesting, considering that so many wanted to believe that Pope Francis was a, quote, progressive pope when it came to cultural issues like sexuality, more particularly homosexuality, more specifically the LGBTQ community. And secondarily, that he was a more, quote, progressive pope on issues of transgenderism. My understanding of Pope Francis was that he loved all people. And at one point he said, "Who am I to judge?" I remember that only because at the time I went, well, you're the Pope, right? That's part of the job, telling people when they're sinning and when they're not sinning. Isn't that part of the job? I thought it was. I don't know. Aren't you supposed to tell people when they are sinning inside? I mean, well, anyway, I'll leave that to you Catholics to figure it out. So I have been amused at the number of liberal writers who have decided to put pen to paper or on their keyboards or whatnot, talk about how they are hoping that this pope, much like Pope Francis, embraces the LGBTQ community. Have I missed Catholic doctrine changing on the issue of homosexuality? I mean, I thought Catholic doctrine was what it was. I also read a few things this morning regarding Pope Francis and his position. He was a bit more of a hardliner on the issue of abortion. Oh, you think? He is the Pope. It's like a lot of these liberal writers, man, they want to believe that the Pope is like Mr. Liberal and believes as they believe. And I'm like, I don't think they've changed Catholic doctrine that much. 6455 says, "Hey, Matt, did you know that the Pope was considered or is considered to be biracial? His mother was a Creole, which makes him African-American." Well, if that's the case, then, that's great. I think that's wonderful. Patrina writes in, and Patrina's mad at me because apparently I screwed up Patrina's name. Did I call her Patina? I think I did.
You may have, yeah.
When I referenced her to Jay. I'm sorry, Patrina, that I screwed your name up. You said it right day before yesterday when I got on to you about not thanking our service members. But the one time, let me just read the whole thing. This is a little bit of a diatribe. Patrina writes, "Well, thank you, Matt Morphy. You screwed up my name, so I did yours too. Patrunda? Really? You said it right the day before yesterday when I got on to you about not thanking our service members. But the one time I need you to get it right for my future boyfriend, Sir J. St. Clair, you totally screw up my name. That's okay. I use an alias on the YouTube chat in X. I've actually already talked to Jay on X, but under a different pseudonym, Stealth Mode LOL.
Wow, Patrunda, sneaky.
Patrunda is after it. Patrunda's mad at me, Matt Morphy, for messing up her name with her future boyfriend, Sir Jay Clair. She also, ironically, and I don't think she meant to do this, she called him Jay Sinclair, which is pretty funny because it is Jay St. Clair. Matt Morphy on the radio until 7 o'clock tonight on Super Talk 99.7 WTF. So I'm pretty excited about this offer being thrown at you by Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. You know, they're your local full-service Toro dealer. It's mowing season. You know that, right? And it's time to replace your old mower with a new Toro. They've stacked up on Toro Time Cutters, Toro Titans, Toro Z-Master mowers, and they're looking to make a deal. Through the end of May, through the end of this month, you can get up to $1,500 off select Toro zero-turn mowers. That is a bargain. Friends, Toro, you can count on it. And you can count on going where the pros go when you step into Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. If you're looking for quality parts or products, best advice, or you just need if you just need some trimmer line, whatever you might need for your turf or landscaping needs, they have it, and they've got the expertise to help you along the way. If you've got questions, not only do they have supplies, they've got answers at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. They are your one-stop shop when it comes to all things out of doors and your home. Nashville, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, Franklin, Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. Online at dickenssupply.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply.
The Trump administration says deportations are about to ramp up even further. We're finally hearing from Metro Police Chief John Drake about the federal immigration enforcement operation here in Nashville. And there is a new tool to combat cancer. We're going to tell you about at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Can't wait for that report. There's Ken Weaver from News Closet B. My name's Matt Murphy. 25 minutes after the hour. Would love to hear from you, and we've got a couple on the line. 615-737-9986. Just real quick, 9 more arrests overnight. Thursday night into Friday morning as U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement continues its operation, its public safety operation in Davidson County. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed that they had Thursday night stops, which resulted in the arrest of an MS-13 gang member, one driving under the influence arrest and one drug arrest. The MS-13 gang member was wanted out of El Salvador for aggravated murder, according to the Department of Homeland Security. To date, preliminary results of the ICE detentions, according to Fox 17, has been reporting a total of 588 stops for observed traffic violations. Those stops include hazardous moving violations, 4 DUI arrests, 1 child endangerment arrest, 1 felony evading arrest, 3 drug arrests, 6 felony wanted persons. As of Friday, today, ICE has detained 103 individuals for further investigation, including previously reported arrest of convicted child sex predators and known Tren de Aragua members. Other encounters involved suspected gang members of Tren de Aragua affiliates and MS-13. Here's my question. If I could get Freddie O'Connell back on the show, or any of these Metro councilors back on the show, any of these people that we've reached out to, had Chris Weber reach out to 13 separate representatives and senators in the General Assembly in Nashville. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, are they the good guys? That's my question. Are they the good guys? Yes or no? Because the way they've been talking, it sounds like they think they're the bad guys. To hear some of these liberal a-holes on the Metro Council, it sounds like they think the Tennessee Highway Patrol is the Nazi Gestapo. To hear some of these people talk about it, they think the gang members are the good guys with the white hats on, and the ICE members are the bad guys with the black hats on. And I'm wondering when we got to the upside-down world. It is like Seinfeld Bizarro world, man. So my question to you, Freddie O'Connell, do you believe ICE is for the greater good? Because we've had liberals all across this country suggest that we don't need ICE anymore. Well, tell that to Laken Riley's family. Tell that to the family members of people who have been killed, citizens who have been killed in this country at the hands of illegal aliens. And I understand that legal citizens commit murder too. That's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about those who are in this country illegally, against the law. They want to do bad things. I'm not talking about the people that just broke the law by coming here and have done okay since then, working hard, starting a business. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people who are in this country preying on the weak. What are you, Freddie O'Connell? What are you, John Drake? John Drake, you are a horrible disappointment because I know you know better. And you go out there and you just trot the company line because you're worried about your job. Now, I know I have a lot of Metro Nashville police officers that listen to this radio show. Y'all tell me I'm not right. Tell me I'm not right. Tell me that John Drake doesn't know how to patrol these streets in a fashion consistent with the desires of the people of Davidson County. And y'all tell me his hands aren't being tied by politics. It's like a damn hostage video I watched this morning. The chief of police looked like he was in a hostage video this morning. And I'm not afraid to say it. We don't have anything to do with ICE. Well, why not? Why don't you? When you encounter somebody that looks like a gangbanger that doesn't have any identification on him, why aren't you turning those people over to make sure they're in this country legally? A hostage video is what it was. And I understand you want to keep your job, and I understand that you're probably doing the best you can, Drake. But it still doesn't make me any less angry. And we ought to be angry. Anger is a perfect... Y'all notice this, and I know I got to go to the news, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to get to your calls, I promise. But just give me a 30 sec. Have y'all noticed how the liberal mindset has conditioned us to believe that every emotion under the sun is acceptable except for anger? You can be sad, you can be happy, you can be jealous, you can be elated, you can be all of these things. But you're not allowed to be angry about things anymore. Why not? And they want to keep that thumb on you. We need more anger. Anger is a perfectly acceptable emotion when you're faced with this kind of garbage. It is 5:30 on Super Talk.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And ICE detentions continue in Nashville and in cities around the nation. And there will be more, according to what President Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller said today.
Now that we have achieved the mission of sealing the border, you're going to see more and more resources and priorities put into the mass deportation program.
Miller confirming the Trump administration looking at suspending habeas corpus, the right of a person to challenge their detention in court, enshrined in the Constitution.
The Constitution is clear, and that, of course, is the supreme law of the land, that the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So I would say that's an option we're actively looking at.
So right now in Nashville, we're hearing from Metro Police Chief John Drake on the ICE detentions for the first time since they started almost a week ago.
Please hear me when I say this. Immigration status is irrelevant to what we do as a police department. We rely on everyone, regardless of race, gender, ethnicity.
ICE says it has detained more than 100 people from nearly 600 traffic stops. Tennessee state troopers have arrested 12 people. That includes 3 DUIs, 1 child endangerment, 1 felony evading, 2 drug arrests, and 5 felony wanted persons. The FDA has approved an at-home testing kit for cervical cancer. Here's Sherry Preston with details.
The test is called the Teal Wand, and it's designed for women who can't or don't want to get regular pelvic exams in a doctor's office. It'll be available with a prescription, and the company that makes it says it'll work on women ages 26 through 65 who are at average risk of cervical cancer, a disease that kills more than 4,000 women every year but is preventable with regular screening.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, Goodlettsville got a disabled vehicle blocking the right lane, 65 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. Then in Whites Creek, got a crash on the right shoulder, 24 eastbound before Old Hickory Boulevard. 24 eastbound past Hickory Hollow Parkway in Antioch. Police reporting a crash off on the right shoulder there. Also in Antioch, a crash, off-ramp partially blocked, 24 westbound to Hickory Hollow Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Shane Ring at Cover Nash wants to tell you exactly how much you're paying for health insurance, particularly if you don't know the answer to that question vaguely or specifically. Secondarily, are you getting the most out of your coverage that you can? Shane has the answer for you as well. He can shop all of the insurance companies on the market today. I've been to his office and I've watched him do it. I've seen firsthand how he helps people understand how they're overpaying on health plans and procedures. They think they have no choice, but you most certainly do. Cover Nash wants to keep you informed about your health coverage. Don't wait. Don't wait until open enrollment, and don't believe anybody that tells you you have to. Don't get taken advantage of and don't overpay. Let's call Shane Ring and Cover Nash. Let Shane Ring get you a health plan that pays you, not the other way around. Health coverage tailored for you and managed by you, not by the government. That's what it's all about. CoverNash.com. That's CoverNash.com, or call 615-465-0023, 465-0023 for my friend Shane Ring and Cover Nash. How do you keep your most important valuables safe from theft or from fire, especially in Davidson County, but even in the surrounding communities as well? Friends, it's Matt Murphy, and if you're hiding them in a box under your bed or in a closet, you're doing it wrong. I'm sorry, but you just are. There's no better way to secure your valuables and protect your precious loved ones than to purchase a quality safe from Nashville Safe House. They have almost 200 safes on display. That's on display. They have a lot more in stock too in their warehouse. They have more safes on display than most other safe companies combined have in total. It's what they do at Nashville Safe House. They do safes and vaults and tornado shelters and biometrics, and that's about it. And friends, they have professionals delivering your safe to your home, not some third party that nobody knows and you don't know where they come from and they're off the street and you don't know, and you're letting these people in your house. Use the professionals at Nashville Safe House. Plus, remember, gun safes are always sales tax free at Nashville Safe House. Go see the largest selection of Browning safes in America. And I'm going to say that until somebody proves me wrong, because I've never seen a bigger selection of them. It's right here in Nashville on 4th Avenue South, right across the street from City Cemetery. Tell Mark and his team that Matt Murphy sent you to Nashville Safe House. Hey, a little testimony here. By the way, it's the Matt Murphy Show. I'm gonna make this a dealer's choice when we get to Ninkham Poops, boys. Dealer's choice.
Oh, more than one, huh?
I got two that I can't decide on. And I'm going to let y'all pick. But Brian writes in and says, I just worked with Shane Ring this week. Absolutely professional, the most helpful insurance agent I've ever encountered. Love hearing that, Brian. Thank you for the communique, and I'll pass it along to Shane. I know he does great work, and I believe in the way that he does his business as well. 38 after the hour, Harriet has been holding to make a comment about the Pope. And Harriet, the floor is yours. How are you?
I'm well, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
I spent 12 years in a Catholic school. We were taught that the Pope is infallible when it comes to church rulings. I don't know when they changed the Bible, and I can't quote the exact verses, but I hear say that in the Bible there's certain things that the Lord condones and doesn't condone. And this Francis seemed to change things, which I pray he had the authority to do so. That'll be between him and his maker. But I just wish they'd keep focused on the church and stay out of political matters. I don't think that they have any business in it. And that's just my opinion.
Well, Harriet, I think it's a good one. And I think whether they want to or not, I mean, obviously, here's the deal. And thank you, Harriet. Given the level of consequence what the Pope has to say about any matter has, because he has a flock, right? I mean, that's the idea. I mean, 1.4 billion. I feel like a lot of the Catholics, well, I won't say that. I'm not gonna go there because I don't want anybody mad at me. But I feel like a lot of Catholics aren't really fully practicing their faith in a lot of these ways and a lot of these. Let me put it this way. I know a lot of Catholics that think abortion is fine, and I don't understand that. And I'm not even judging it. I know a lot of people that think abortion is fine. And I believe that there are some things on this earth that happen on this earth that I believe that my maker will deal with in his time, and that I don't necessarily have to handle in my time. Does that make sense to everyone? But I don't understand how you can practice the faith that you profess to believe in and still believe in a practice that goes directly against the teachings of that faith. Once again, I'm not even judging it. I just don't understand it. And so all of that said, I do think that the Pope has a lot to say to a lot of people on any matter that he happens to want to say these things about. So to suggest that he doesn't have influence would be naive by me. Of course he does. I just don't think he moves the needle politically anymore. There was a time when the Pope did, in a lot of ways, and that time was way before my life. And I just don't see it nowadays. More coming up on that and other matters, but right now, It's time to get to the nincompoops. Huh?
Nincompoops.
That's right.
The news.
That's right. You know what the news is. You've heard Ken Weaver talking about it. You've heard Matt Murphy opining on it. Now it's time to look all across the state of Tennessee, the United States of America, nay, the globe, and find the nincompoopery where it is and call it out. Shine a light to it. That's what we do on a daily basis, and you guys get to vote on the nincompoop of the day, 615-737-9986. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
How about you?
How's it going?
Going good.
Good. All right, I got two.
You got two nincompoops?
I got two nincompoops, and I can't figure out which one I want, so y'all are going to have to help me.
All right.
All right?
Well, why would we want to help you, though?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, because you don't know which one's better and which one's worse. I'm going to say two words.
Okay.
I'm going to say two words.
Fair enough.
And y'all get to pick which one y'all want.
Okay.
Word number one is snails.
Okay.
Snails. Word number two, lightsabers.
Lightsabers.
You're going lightsabers?
Yes, sir.
I'll go lightsabers.
I'm glad you did because I didn't really figure out what we would do if there was a tie. if you win snail. By the way, you'll get both. Let's go lightsabers. A Nebraska man is behind bars on a pair of felony charges for allegedly striking a female neighbor and the woman's 7-year-old daughter with a Star Wars lightsaber.
Wow.
That according to court records. Investigators allege that Aiden Orion White,
Skywalker,
25, the shot the mug shot that they've got him in, it looks like he's wearing one of those robes.
Got a robe
on.
on.
A little robe action going. Investigators allege that Aiden Orion White lightsaber, 25, first struck the girl while she was playing with her children in the front yard of her Auburn home. It's in Nebraska. When the child's mother, Sandra Lunsman, confronted White, he yelled at her, quote, "I'm not in the mood. Get back in your effing house."
Wow.
White then allegedly charged at Lunsman, wielding his lightsaber in the process.
Yeah, he was making those sounds, I bet.
By the way, I saw a documentary one time about how the way that they made that noise is fascinating.
Oh, I bet.
They used a radio and put static on a radio, like a little zzz, and then slowed it down, and then they took a microphone and swung the microphone around the static to make the wow. Fascinating. Anyway.
You mean they're not real?
Ken Weaver's the funniest man I know. Two neighbors told cops they witnessed White hitting the victims with his lightsaber, which investigators described as a, quote, high-quality device approximately 3.5 feet long, constructed of metal and thick plastic.
High quality.
It made sounds and all.
A deputy noted this particular lightsaber could, quote, cause significant pain and injury when used to strike an individual.
Well, yeah.
Well, of course, it's a lightsaber. During police questioning, White reportedly confessed to the attack, saying it was, quote, unacceptable behavior for which he wanted to apologize. See, he allowed the anger to flow through him. That's the dark side of the Force.
Yes, sir.
You can't do that.
No.
Do that. You've got to control your feelings, Luke. He also said that he wanted to apologize. White said that while cordial with cops, he would have profane and angry outbursts during questioning, which included blaming the victims for a rise in his rent. He also warned of future problems for Lunsman and her child. The lightsaber was seized by police as evidence. White was charged with a criminal complaint of 2 felony assault charges. He's being held in lieu of $50,000 bail. See, I'm a little confused here. Why didn't you do that? I am not the renter that you're looking for.
Yeah.
You will not raise my rent.
Exactly. In fact, you will let me live here free of rent.
Rent free. Move along.
I mean, honestly, though, how much could the basement cost?
I mean, come on.
You know he's living in the basement.
Our man, White, has been ordered by a judge to undergo a competency evaluation. He faces court on June 3rd.
Yeah,
so
that's reasonable.
There you go. Mr. Weber?
Mine comes from Chicago. Police officers were called to Chicago's Midway Airport back on Saturday, April 26th, as Flight 418 from Philadelphia arrived, with one passenger shocking the cabin by taking off her clothes and emptying her bowels on the plane seat.
Goodness.
No.
Southwest said in a statement, our teams are reaching out to those on board to apologize for the situation and any delay to their travel plans.
Delay?
Nothing is more important to Southwest than the safety of our customers and employees, and we appreciate the professionalism of our flight crew. The plane was taken out of service for cleaning. No word if the passenger was taken out of service for cleaning as well.
Talk about a party pooper.
Yeah, this was one of the stories where I actually wanted to find more. This is the entire story. There are no more details. She was not identified. It didn't say what led up to this. Surprisingly, there was no video from the cabin of the incident taking place. I looked for multiple stories, and all of them said the same thing. So I don't know what happened to this woman, what caused her to do this, but I'm glad I wasn't on that flight.
Man. Group number 2, you're ready to board. Group number 2.
Well, at least it masked all the coffee breath.
Took off her clothes and then squatted in the seat.
They're just circulating that air, too, on that plane. There's no amount of cleaning.
Next flight, people will start to board and go, what is that? What's that smell? Do they not clean the bathroom?
Why is my seat?
Sir, do we need to bring the air marshal in?
Imagine being the guy next to the guy and you thinking, this guy stinks. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, they think it's you.
I got nothing. I didn't do it. It's like being on an elevator and somebody farts and gets off and then somebody else gets on. It wasn't me.
Right.
It was that guy.
And everybody anyway, everybody believes it's you. Mr. Weaver.
On Sunday around 6 o'clock in the morning, Guam Police Department officers received a call about a naked man. Wow. Later identified as 25-year-old Michael James White, walking along a road. This is timely. From our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church.
Oh, yes.
In Yigo, Guam. Anyway, according to court documents, an officer responded to the area and saw a man who was indeed completely naked walking past a Shell station. The officer pulled up behind him with her patrol vehicle's lights and sirens on when the man began walking faster and then went, woo-hoo! and started to skip.
He skipped.
The officer got his attention again, and the man asked if she was his taxi and if she could take him to his home. Then he identified himself as the officer whenever other officers arrived.
I'm the police.
Police determined he was highly intoxicated.
Yeah.
Due to his slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, difficulty maintaining balance, and being naked on the job, so to speak. When asked where his clothes were, if he knew where he was,
I'm the police.
White said, "Those are really good questions." He was subsequently arrested and then agreed to be interviewed.
That's we're going to get to the bottom of this together.
So they've got him even in Guam, boys.
That's awesome.
I'm going to have to use that line. That's a really good question.
It's a really good question. I just like
and just be quiet after that.
Yeah.
Started yelling woo-hoo and skipping.
Why don't you have... I will say this. When's the last time y'all skipped?
It's been a while.
It's been a
minute?
while. Yeah. I don't even know if I could do it anymore.
You can. At least I can. I think you can.
You don't ever forget how.
You don't forget how to skip. And I defy y'all. I'm not getting all Pollyanna and rosy and sunshine on you. I'm the same mean old Matt Murphy. But I defy you to skip this weekend and not smile when you skip. You cannot be annoyed. You cannot frown while skipping. It's impossible.
Well, I'll have to try it.
Alcohol helps.
Well, doesn't Not always.
If there's popular demand for the snail story, I might share it in the 6 o'clock hour because this might take a turn for the worse in terms of human life on Earth because we got snails that potentially are carrying parasites that could kill everybody.
Ooh, that doesn't sound fun.
No, it doesn't sound fun at all. So maybe that's a story that we carry for the 6 o'clock hour right now, 51 after the hour. Tell us who the big winner is. 615-737-9986. Guam, naked Guam, poopy naked lady on the plane, or lightsaber boy. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back after this. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. Grace Point Healthcare is affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine in a direct pay format. Why is that important to you? Well, in a direct pay line of communication with you and your doctor in terms of your financials, you know exactly what you're going to pay when you walk in to your visit. That's important to me because healthcare is something odd. Because of the infusion of insurance in healthcare, it's something that we don't really know what it costs anymore. Not so at Grace Point Healthcare. You'll know the cost, and it is less expensive than so many other locations around town because they do have their direct pay system. The Smart Care Plan, $69 a month. You get unlimited office visits, free basic labs and diagnostic testing. There are no long wait times at Grace Point Healthcare. They would never make you wait for healthcare in the same fashion that some others do. We're not knocking these others, but why would you want to wait 2 or 3 weeks if you're sick today? They can see you at Grace Point Healthcare, whether you are brand new to their system or you're a long-standing customer. And you don't have to be a part of the Smart Care Plan in order to get an appointment same day or next day. They're a military veteran-owned practice. I absolutely love that as well. The patients are treated naturally whenever possible, which is a good thing. Call 599-6868, 599-6868. Or just look them up in Franklin. They're a great organization, and they truly are affordable and exceptional medicine at your convenience. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
President Trump indicates he'd be okay with raising taxes on the wealthy. This story and more coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. A couple of minutes before we get to that newscast, 7413 writes in and says, as Matt was talking about his nincompoop Jedi, there was an increasing humming sound as he spoke.
Ooh.
I thought, wow, that's a nice touch for this story. Someone, Chris Webber, is riding a fader with some lightsaber audio. In reality, it was a small airplane flying over me at the time. I'm such a dork.
I'll still take credit.
Sure it wasn't an X-Wing fighter?
Maybe so. I loved that scene. You a fan of the Star Wars movies there?
I am indeed.
I am too. What about you, Weber?
I don't like those ones they did in the 90s.
Oh, the prequels?
Nobody really likes
they
those.
stunk.
I mean, I'm so saddened that those didn't work. I mean, what could have been good was ruined by that dork that was playing Darth Vader in the second two, the older guy. It was
Hayden
such
Christensen.
a bad actor.
Yeah, he was not good.
Just such an awful actor. I tell you though, that scene, I never don't get goosebumps. That scene where Luke doesn't think he can get the X-Wing fighter out of the swamp.
Yeah.
And Yoda does it.
Yeah.
And Luke says, I don't believe it. And Yoda says, that is why you fail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a life lesson right there, baby.
Yes, sir.
Life lessons.
Yes, sir.
From the mind of George Lucas. All right, I'll maybe give you the snail story in a moment. I will tell you about the liberals that are losing their mind regarding immigration and customs enforcement following the law, not just in Nashville, but in Worcester, Massachusetts. And we'll find out if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not coming up in a moment. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. ICE detentions continue in Nashville and cities across the nation and are going to continue and possibly on a larger scale, according to what President Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller said today.
On a day-to-day basis, you're going to see exponentially larger numbers of illegal aliens being arrested and removed from the interior.
Miller confirms the Trump administration is looking at suspending habeas corpus, which he says can be suspended in time of invasion. And we heard from Metro Police Chief John Drake today, nearly a week since the ICE operation started here.
Our police department had no knowledge of any ICE enforcement going on this past weekend. In fact, I was not even aware of any actions going on until about midday Sunday morning when I was contacted by the mayor's office.
Channel 4's Jordan James.
Over the last few days, Tennessee Highway Patrol has been working with federal agencies. They've made nearly 600 traffic stops that have led to at least 103 people being taken into ICE custody. Among those were reportedly gang members and felons, according to ICE. The federal agency has yet to release the names and charges of those detained.
Meanwhile, in New Jersey, this was the scene outside an ICE detention facility in Newark where the mayor, Ross Baraka, and 3 Democratic members of Congress were arrested for allegedly trespassing. They were out there with protesters against ICE, and they were apparently ignoring Homeland Security investigators' warnings to remove themselves. Answering questions in the Oval Office today while signing new executive orders, President Trump was asked about his post on social media that he'd be okay with raising taxes on the wealthy as GOP lawmakers work on a budget bill.
I would love to be able to give people in a lower bracket a big break by giving up some of what I have. But I'll tell you, a lot of people say don't do it because of the fact that you have the Bush statement about read my lips, but he lost because of Ross Perot. He didn't lose because of that statement.
Trump, in his post to Truth Social, said maybe Republicans shouldn't, but he'd be okay with it. On to your health. The FDA has approved a do-it-yourself testing kit for cervical cancer. Here's Sherry Preston.
More than 13,000 women are diagnosed with invasive cervical cancer every year, and more than 4,300 die. The disease, however, is preventable with regular screening, but not all women stay up to date with their pap smears. Some forget, some don't want to go into a doctor's office to have it done. Now, the at-home testing kit called the Teal Wand has been fully approved by the FDA for at-home use with a prescription.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Goodlettsville, disabled vehicle, right lane block, 65 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. In Whites Creek, a crash blocking the right shoulder, 24 eastbound before Old Hickory Boulevard. And in Antioch, right shoulder blocked by a crash, 24 eastbound past Hickory Hollow Parkway. Also in Antioch, crash off-ramp partially blocked, 24 westbound to Hickory Hollow Parkway. In Brentwood, Highway Patrol reporting a crash, 65 southbound right before Old Hickory Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Might be the biggest reaction I've ever gotten on the super text line. People telling me how to pronounce Worcester.
Nope.
Worcester.
Nope.
Oyster.
No R.
Worcester.
That's very close. Worcester.
I know it's Massachusetts. I've always had that one right. Massachusetts. But I never could do. Say it again, Weber.
Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcester. Like wuss with a.
Why do I trust
stop.
you?
I don't know. I'm probably wrong. I'm just making it up.
No, I tell you, 99.25 has it pegged. Worcester. Worcester.
I put a little more wuss on it.
Worcester.
But that could be wrong. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what is wrong about Worcester, Massachusetts. The number of liberals that are furious about an ICE operation that spiraled into chaos in Worcester, Massachusetts. It was on a street yesterday morning. Agents detained a woman who clung to her baby as neighbors surrounded them demanding a warrant. I'm illustrating this to point out that this is happening all over the United States of America, and for some reason, liberals are confused as to why the law is being followed. Dramatic footage circulated online showing about 25 residents in Worcester, Massachusetts, swarming the ICE vehicle on Eureka Street, demanding agents identify themselves. Screaming can be heard in the video. Agents attempt to control the situation and the crowd before police tackle one individual. One agent reportedly shot back, "We don't have to show you anything." Worcester police were called to the scene and later confirmed that the woman had already been placed under arrest when the crowd tried to block the vehicle from leaving. The crowd was unruly, police said in a statement, putting their hands on federal agents and Worcester officers. I might be saying it wrong, but I'm saying it with authority. Also arrested was a school committee candidate, Ashley Spring, who is a local resident who police say pushed police officers and threw a, quote, unknown liquid on them. See, that's the thing. If y'all just identify the liquid, you can get nincompoops in the news. Just tell me that it's human pee, and I'm all in. Really, any urine of any sort, but, human would get you right in there. Mayor Joseph Petty called the incident, quote, devastating. As someone who prides themselves on leading a welcoming city, I'm devastated to hear about the separation of it. See, he's not These liberals, man. Listen to this. As someone who prides themselves on leading a welcoming city, I'm devastated to hear about the separation of a family, especially with Mother's Day right around the corner. The fear of ICE tearing a family apart is the worst nightmare of so many in our city. Nah, I disagree with you. I'm thinking maybe an individual that has no authority nor right to be in the United States of America committing an act of violence against a city resident and killing that person, maybe raping them beforehand. Maybe that would be the worst thing that you could imagine, the worst nightmare in your city, sir? No? No, it's the illegal alien being separated? Oh, okay. By the way, we're beginning to hear about family separations more and more, and there's a lot of concern about family separations. What about other lawbreakers? I suppose that we should consider when a mother, steals groceries from the Publix, that there will be a family separated that night, and so we should not engage in lawful action against that person who stole property. When someone is speeding, when pulled over and they're going 90 in a 55, but they tell you, oh, but I'm trying to get home to my child. Well, we wouldn't want a family separation to occur, so let's not give a ticket to that person for endangering the health and safety of others. Or, drunken driving or any other law breaking, as long as there's a family involved, we're going to start forgiving that? Is that what we're doing? Oh, I'm being silly? I hear you out there. I hear you liberals. Stop being silly, Matt. How am I being silly? Is it silly that I'm choosing a different place not to follow the law? Or maybe you all are being silly in as much as the law is what the law is. What about, Brian writes in, and he's exactly right. What about the mother that kills someone drunk? Should that woman not be separated from her children because she's a mother? Joseph Petty. Joseph Petty sounds a lot like Freddie O'Connell. Petty and Freddie. 2 peas in a pod. Family separations. Well, you don't have to be separated. You can take your family with you. In the meantime, as I went off on Chief John Drake earlier, let me give you the backstory. I know Ken Weaver's been talking about this during his newscast. Metro Nashville Police Department Chief John Drake reiterated again this morning that his department did not work with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, to which Matt Murphy asks, why not? Since May 3rd, the Tennessee Highway Patrol partnered with ICE for what they call public safety efforts. They've had numerous stops, and they have arrested numerous individuals for a variety of purposes. Drake said, our police department had no knowledge of any ICE activity going on this weekend. In fact, I was not even aware of any action going on until about midday Sunday morning when I was contacted by the mayor's office about enforcement. Drake went on to say the department does work with federal agencies at times, but not ICE. Metro Council members hosted a meeting Wednesday that turned into a prayer vigil. Drake went on to say, and hear me when I say this, immigration status is irrelevant to what we do as a police department. Can I support John Drake as police chief if that's his attitude? So certain law breaking is irrelevant to you? Okay. Quote, hear me when I say this. Immigration status is irrelevant to what we do as a police department. We rely on everyone, regardless of race, gender, ethnicity, or birthplace, to call us when they need help to report a crime. Yeah, but what if they're the ones committing the crime? Then we have our precision policing model, which is a do-no-harm approach where we identify the individuals who are committing crimes and we do something with them. That means we arrest people who are committing crimes, regardless of race, gender, etc. Those crimes could be anything from a major crime to whatever. I don't know, like being in the country illegally. From time to time, we have interactions with federal authorities, FBI, ATF, and others. We do not work with ICE, he said. He went on to say that he wanted all Nashvillians, no matter their immigration status, to call police if they needed help. He noted crime was down in the past year. To all Nashville residents, if you need help from the police department, if you're a victim of crime, call us because we care about you regardless of where you're from. We want to help you. So how is it that John Drake is not saying that Nashville is, Nashville's a sanctuary city, right? According to our mayor, they won't say it, but according to our mayor, according to our police chief, they won't have anything to do with ICE. I'm just confused what happens Here's what I'm going to do, Chief Drake. I'm going to, the next time I get pulled over, I got pulled over recently by a Metro Nashville Police Department officer, and he was very nice, and he let me go with a warning for speeding on I-40. Next time I get pulled over, I'm going to say, no habla inglés, and I got no identification, and see what happens. Because apparently they don't care. I mean, so if I don't have identification, if I don't have an ability to prove who I say I am, and I'm involved in some sort of accusation of a crime, what happens after that? I'm just confused. Do they police other federal laws? Does the Metro Nashville Police Department police the federal laws that are on the books? I mean, robbing a bank is a federal crime, right? Do they police that? I mean, I understand that he hides or shields himself behind the idea that that doesn't have anything to do with them, but is it not your responsibility to keep your community safe by turning over a lawbreaker to another agency if they're wanted by that other agency? I mean, you would do that with, like, if Nashville found out that there was a warrant for a dude's arrest in Chattanooga, you would do that for Chattanooga, right? Why wouldn't you do that for ICE? I'm just confused. Maybe Howard can help me. Hello, Howard.
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm fair to partly cloudy.
Well, that's good enough, wanted to start out, you and I believe it's Mr. Sinclair, y'all did good with moving, I believe his name was Mr. Larry. Y'all did good by moving him along. Y'all did right by him. That was good looking out.
Well, thank you.
But that's he'd said enough. But we'll move on from that. Reason why I was calling, even though I'm down here in Florida, I listen to y'all show on a daily, and it's been rather entertaining hearing you expand upon this little uprising you have on your hands with the liberals up there about your parent. You know, you've got way too many immigrants being arrested, and they're just losing their minds about it. And just thought that maybe you could maybe give them a little show and tell example on how it really is supposed to be done. Down here in Florida, it's mainly southeast Florida. We can give them a good example on how it's done. They did an Operation Tidal Wave down there. They roped up about 800 plus multi-agency, multiple jurisdictions, city, county, sheriff's departments, from multiple jurisdictions. All of them work together with local, federal, ICE, Homeland Security. All of them work together. And depending on which news agency you talk to, it's 800 plus. Some of them are saying closer to 1,000 illegals. And you don't hear nothing about anybody losing their minds, pulling their hair out, screaming that they don't belong getting locked up. And even today, they're right down in Palm Beach, right there at the Breakers. You know, that's real ritzy kind of. That's right on Palm Beach, super high-end neighborhood. They floated a boat right up on shore. They caught 10 various nationalities, is all they said. They were still hunting 2 more. And you don't hear anybody.
You don't hear anybody what?
You don't hear anybody crying and whining about, you know, them. They just cuffed them up, and you know, they just detain them, cuff them up, and they'll be moved right on back to where they go.
The political left has decided that they have a specialty class of individuals. Thank you, Howard, for the call. They have a specialty class of individuals that they don't believe that we should concern ourselves with what the law says and what it doesn't say when it comes to those individuals. Let me give you another story out of the Metro Nashville Police Department. This one from the Tennessee Star. Metro Nashville Police Wednesday morning announced the arrest of Angel Javier Diaz Carvajal for running a sex trafficking operation in Antioch, Tennessee. Angel Javier Diaz Carvajal allegedly made online advertisements for prostitution and was busted by an undercover officer with the department's Specialized Investigations Division. Despite initially being allowed to secure pretrial release on a $185,000 bond, records made public by the Davidson County Sheriff's Office confirmed that Diaz Carvajal is not eligible for release due to a detainer requested by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Wait a minute. I thought John Drake said that they didn't work with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Huh. I guess it was the sheriff's office that was working with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, not you. According to ICE, the detainers a request for local law enforcement to hold an illegal alien for up to 48 hours pending their transfer to a federal agency. According to the Metro Nashville Police Department, Diaz Carvajal was contacted by an undercover detective through a phone number placed on an online ad. He ultimately agreed to meet the detective alongside a sex trafficking victim at an Antioch motel. This is what's going on in the community that the Tennessee Highway Patrol is engaging in traffic stops, okay? The department stated that Diaz Carvajal initially fled from officers on foot but was quickly arrested, has been charged with trafficking for a commercial sex act, promoting prostitution, invading, and resisting arrest. According to the Metro Nashville Police Department, the woman who accompanied Diaz Carvajal was arrested as she approached the detective's vehicle. She reportedly told the department she was afraid of Diaz Carvajal, who allegedly promised she would be employed as a maid in Nashville, but instead forced her into prostitution. This is human trafficking. Human trafficking by an illegal alien. Freddie O'Connell says that we shouldn't separate these people from their families. John Drake said he doesn't have anything to do with any of this type of police activity. Y'all mad yet? It gets better. It was additionally reported that Diaz Carvajal was introduced to the woman through his wife and that he was withholding payments for prostitution for more than a day at the time of the arrest. The arrest follows. So I want to thank the Tennessee Star and Tom Pappert. He reminded me of this. Y'all remember that bust in January of the brothel? Federal authorities claimed it was operated by members of Tren de Aragua right here in Antioch, Tennessee. 8 people were charged with human trafficking by the U.S. Department of Justice right here in Antioch, Tennessee. But we're being told, what, no big deal? Family separation? What? What reporter in Nashville, Tennessee will look at Freddie O'Connell and ask him about this case, look at John Drake and ask him about this case, and ask them if it was important that this person was turned? Is it important that Angel Javier Diaz Carvajal was turned over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or would you have preferred that he was allowed to bond out? Because without ICE, he would have bonded out, per the Metro Nashville Police Department. He'd be on the streets, running his prostitution ring, running his human trafficking. That good? That good with the city of Nashville? Apparently it is. Apparently it's okay if you're young and Hispanic and you're being used as a prostitute. If you are a human slave, that's okay with the Metro Council. Because, you know, family separation. Sick, man. 24 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Preborn. Mother's Day is almost here, and I want to highlight Preborn because of the work that they do for mothers as well as for unborn children. Preborn's network of clinics exists exclusively to offer love and life and support to pregnant mothers who are feeling scared and alone and being pressured to make an ultimate decision, a choice that will not only sacrifice the life of their preborn child, but also take a piece of their heart in the process. When a distressed mother comes to Preborn, she's welcomed with open arms, with love, compassion, offered a free ultrasound to hear and see the precious life inside of her. And the majority of the time when she makes a choice, she chooses life. This Mother's Day, can you help bring life to both a mother and an at-risk baby? One ultrasound is just $28. 5 ultrasounds, just $140. And if you're a business owner, perhaps you consider a bit of a larger donation as a tax write-off. A donation of $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 can be life-changing for so many mothers. A $15,000 donation will sponsor an ultrasound machine for a needy clinic, helping to save countless babies' lives for years to come. All gifts are tax-deductible and will reach eternity. Get involved today by going to preborn.com/Murphy. That's preborn.com/Murphy or pound 250 keyword baby. Pound 250 with the keyword baby. All right, that Mr. Ken Weaver's coming up in mere seconds on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And we'll get to your telephone calls as well. Plus, we got a visit coming up with Lenny McGill of the Glock store. You know, there's a big event coming up at the Glock store at the end of the month. I'm very excited about it. The 5th annual open house. We'll tell you all about that on the way in just a few moments. Plus, we'll finish up with the news of the day. I have not forgotten the snail story. Don't worry. I will tell you the snail story. And here's a special added bonus. The snail story comes with Matt's snail joke, which is one of the best jokes you will ever hear. I'm telling you, when I tell you the snail joke, you are going to tell friends and neighbors the snail joke. I cannot tell you the snail joke on the radio as best delivered because it involves a curse word that I can't say on the radio. But you can alter it slightly and you still get the idea.
All right.
All right?
Can't wait.
So snail joke, snail story, and snail joke coming up. But that's all after my man, Lenny McGill. And that's coming up after the news on Super Talk. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Man, we're sliding into the weekend. Before we get there, we have a number of things to do. We have to tell you the snail story. Plus, I have a rhetorical question for all of you fellas in the audience regarding dunking a basketball. And, Chris, I have a job for you while I talk to Lenny McGill.
Okay.
I want you to find out, I don't know the answer to this question, the percentage of men that can dunk a basketball.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm betting that it is less than 3% of all men.
I don't know
On a regulation goal.
Yeah. All right, I'll see what I can find.
All right, but I could be wrong. As we look that up, we welcome to the show Lenny McGill. He is our good friend. He is the proprietor of the Glock store, which is such a great and wonderful business in our community. And I'm very excited because this month is the month for the big open house. What is going on, Lenny? How are you, my friend?
Hey, man, I'm really good. I got to say, though, when I was 17 years old in high school on a basketball team, I could dunk.
Oh, see, I think I don't think it's a lot. I think it's like 3% of dudes. I think you get just get 100 dudes together, Lenny. I think.
Well, I can't dunk now.
Well, and you're in shape, man. Well, there's a great story. There's a golfer, a professional golfer, bet his caddy that if he trained for 2 years, that he could dunk. And this guy's like 5'8".
Oh, wow.
And his caddy was like, no way. You could train for the rest of your life and you'll never be able to dunk a basketball. So anyway, that story was just kind of amusing to me.
And did he or not? What was
This is the beginning. I mean, he's just starting. He said he's going to train. So
you're holding us now. I got to hear the snail joke too before I go. So don't hang up on me after this.
All right, I'll let you
teased
know.
that well. So all right, hey, so we got a big event coming up here on Saturday, May 31st. It's our big 5th annual open house at the Glock store, just real close to the airport up here off of Bradley Parkway on Elm Hill Pike. And it's a fantastic event. Lots of people come, and one of the best parts is that you're going to be there.
I'm here. I'm all in, baby. I loved it. I've been to the last 2, and for the rest of my life, as long as you have open houses, I'm going to be there. Not just because I love you and love the facility and love the Glock store, but the deals, man. I mean, I love to train. I love to go out and shoot with my buddies. And so many deals on ammo and other things go on. I mean, it's about the raffles. It's about the camaraderie. But there's a lot of great deals you got in the open house.
Yeah, we do, and we've got a lot of participation from some of our big manufacturers. We've got optics now. Optics are really hot, so we've got optics from Hullison that we're giving away. They're part of the raffle program. Aimpoint has come in. Vortex has come in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all these big major manufacturers, participate because we sell a bunch of their stuff as well, and they like the publicity. We get about 600-700 people up there. I mean, you're there shaking hands, kissing babies, loving life, and I'm telling you, you have. Really taken over this time slot. I love listening to you on the drive home. You are really a true professional. But I'm telling you what, I'm glad to have you in Nashville because you're fun to listen to. You're a fun guy.
Well, you're kind, Lenny. But look, I love having you guys, and I love telling the story. And every time we get together, I like to remind folks that you had a decision point to make about where you wanted to take what was an incredible business out in California, but you knew the time was right to move it to a different location, and you picked Nashville, and we are so lucky to have you because y'all ship all over the country. Y'all are known worldwide, but having you right here in Nashville, not only can we buy online, we can walk into the store and talk to the pros and go to the shooting rooms ourselves, and that's just a blessing to have that in our backyard.
Yeah, we get a lot of people coming, into Nashville, which is a destination location, and that's one of the main reasons we picked it. And we're up close to the airport too, so a lot of people come into Nashville, they'll, party and do conventions and all that. They'll just drop right in because we're about 2 miles from the airport. Yeah. Now, listen, this time here at the open house, we have a machine gun room. We've got a couple of full auto guns that you're going to be able to test and try and play with, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We have a Glock room. One of our shoot rooms is going to be dedicated to all the different Glocks. You can try all the different Glocks. And then we have a little speed shooting contest that you can enter, and we're looking for the fastest shooter in Nashville. So lots of fun stuff to do, not to mention all the different displays and merchandise that we have on display. You can see for the first time and touch and feel, and you really get a good idea of what you like and what you need.
Let me tell you, if you're a gun enthusiast and you've never had an opportunity to shoot full auto, do this. There's videos up on the Glock store website. I know that I had them up. I'll repost them of my experience going through the training and shooting full auto. Man, it is. I mean, you just feel it in your bones when you do it, Lenny. I know you know, and if you've never done it, you got to do it.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. It really is. It's a unique experience, and we've got a couple of different newer machine guns too that people can try and play with. And we've got instructors right there on top of you too, so don't it's very safe. And again, we're in private rooms. That's one of the key things that I've always been big on is shooting down a lane is okay. After a while, it's a little boring. It's like one target. We've got private rooms where you can shoot at multiple targets in multiple directions. You can move. You can draw from holsters. You can use lasers and lights. You can draw from holster. You can practice concealed carry. The training room there is unlike anything else that is available, not only in this town, but basically in the entire country, unless you're in the military or law enforcement.
Well, Lenny, you know how much we love you guys on any day, but on open house day, it is truly something special. It always packs out, but you've got plenty of room. You got plenty of folks out, plenty of vendors out. Once again, it's from, 10 until 2. Is that right?
Yeah, Saturday, the 31st from 10 to 2. We've got food trucks out there as well. There's going to be, like I said, there's giveaways all day long. And then, of course, like I said, you can try and look at different guns and try before you buy. And we've got specials on guns, and we are giving away one of the truly custom guns we do. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
Last year, that custom Glock was so good, and I was so jealous because full disclosure, everybody, I'm not eligible to win the raffle. Lenny told me that I was not eligible, and I was like, okay, fine, I guess. But man, this customized gun, it is so good. This Glock, I mean, there was $1,800 value last year, and I know it'll be even better this year. All right, Lenny, you want me to put you on hold so I can tell the joke?
I want to hear the snail joke, and thank you, Matt. Thank you to the listeners, and we hope to see you out here on the 31st.
Absolutely. The 31st, mark your calendar, 10 until 2. Lenny will be there. Matt Murphy will be there. The whole crew from Super Talk 99.7 WTN will be there, and we're looking forward to you being there as well. Okay, I'll tell the snail story in a minute because Lenny's on the line. I'll tell the snail joke now.
Okay.
All right. Pretty simple. So, guy's coming home after a long day at work, and he pulls up into his driveway, gets out of his car, gets his briefcase, walks up the pathway, gets onto his front porch. He's fiddling with his keys. And he looks down as he's messing with his keys trying to get in the door, and he sees this huge snail, this nasty, there's a huge snail with a big shell, and he sees the slime trail. It's like, ugh, grossed him out. And so he picked up the snail and he just threw it. Yuck. And goes into his house.
Wow.
3 years go by. Guy's coming home. 3 years later. Pulls into his driveway, gets his briefcase out of the back, slings it over his shoulder, walks up the driveway, getting his keys out, about to open up the door, and he looks down, and there's a snail on his front porch.
Mm-hmm.
And the snail looks at him and says, well, now what the hell was that all about?
Not bad.
Yeah. Lenny.
Long payoff.
Hold on. Was that worth it, Lenny, or no?
Well, I think the delivery was better than the joke.
I'll take it, Lenny. I'll take it. Hey, if I don't see you before, brother, I'll see you on the 31st, okay?
All right, brother.
All right, man. All right, there's that. That was the nicest thing that Lenny could say about my snail joke. It's better if he gives you the old, what the F was that?
Yeah, I could see that.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, see, get it because y'all get it right because
they're slow. They're really slow.
They're really slow.
Yeah.
And so it took him. Mm-hmm. But he was determined that he was going to. You get it. Snails. So apparently there are parasitic snails that are carrying a killer bug that have found to be spreading it in Europe. Outbreaks have cropped up in Spain and Portugal with fears that warming weather and human activity could turn more idyllic waterways into danger zones. Potentially deadly parasite carried by the snails is creeping into popular European holiday spots, and experts are warning that this could affect human beings. The bug behind the tropical disease, which is a disease that I cannot pronounce, so we're going to call it Great Googly Moogly. That's what I say when I can't pronounce words. It's a Schizentemosis macamus. Great Googly Moogly is known as snail fever, and it is now being found in beautiful rivers and lakes across the Mediterranean. Experts believe that a combination of tourism and warmer temperatures in Europe could be to blame for the rise in infections. The disease, caused by parasitic worms that live inside freshwater snails, can silently infect people who swim, paddle, or wash in contaminated water. The fork-shaped grub burrows into human skin, where it then proceeds to lay thousands of eggs. These eggs can lodge in your organs and, if left untreated, cause infertility, blindness, organ damage, and bladder cancer. In children, infection can lead to stunted growth. When it happens, it's hard to control. Once a snail is infected, they infect a whole population of snails, which then, in turn, can infect an entire population of humans. By God, if we go out on the snails, I don't have snails on my bingo card.
No,
as a way to go out. But if you're worried about the next infection, I mean, this one probably a little slower moving than COVID.
That's how it seems. Yes,
that's the second snail joke.
Snail fever.
The second and last snail joke of the week. It's 48 after the hour on Super Talk. Dave says my snail joke was totally worth the wait. So just so y'all know. And then somebody's accusing me of stealing that from Training Day. I've never seen the movie Training Day. So if that snail joke was in Training Day, they stole it from me because I've told that joke for many, many years. I have also reminded you for many years that U.S. Pest, if you have a snail problem, infected or no, they can handle it. Now, they don't list snails as one of their premier invasive or threat pests in the state of Tennessee, but they ought to because, I mean, a snail is nasty and they're stinky and they're awful, and you don't want snails in your life, just like you don't want spiders or stink bugs or roaches or silverfish or any of those other brown recluse spiders or any other spider for that matter. They take care of these common Tennessee pests with U.S. Pest. 100% money-back guarantee. Termite protection available as well with 100% money-back guarantee there. You know, every home in Tennessee is threatened by termites. You need to make sure that you're protected with U.S. Pest. They offer crawl-space service as well. If you are already a U.S. Pest customer, refer a neighbor or a friend, and you'll get a $50 credit on your account to be used for a free mosquito, tick, or flea treatment. Call today for your free inspection. If you are not currently a customer, you need to be because your home is threatened by pests. Keep them out. They're a little communist. USPest.com. That's USPest.com or 590-1260. Call today for U.S. Pest. By the way, if you're wondering where in the world can I see Matt Murphy on a weekend, how about tomorrow morning, 8:30, Spring Hill, Tennessee at Big Bad Breakfast. I will be there with some of my favorite representatives in the General Assembly, senators and representatives alike. I think Joey Hensley will be there. Jack Johnson will be there. Scott Zapicki will be there. There are others that I'm sure I'm forgetting. But I'll be there, 8:30, Big Bad Breakfast. You're invited to be there. AFP is sponsoring the event. They asked me to be kind of the master of ceremonies there, and I'm happy to do it. So come on out and see us, 8:30 in the morning at Big Bad Breakfast. Andy writes in and says, Murphy, got big laughs with the snail jokes on my kids. However, I did use the F word.
Father of the year right there.
Father of the year. All right, so here's the question. And I'm just going to let the inspiration for this story do the setup. This is professional golfer Harry Higgs.
On a much lighter and un-golf-related note, I saw a clip where you had made a bet with your trainer that you were going to be able to dunk a basketball.
Okay, yeah. Well, we talked about it in the rain delay. I am of the belief that I and anybody you can train yourself to do anything. I think somebody brought up marathon. I think a marathon would be easier. And I know looking at me that sounds ridiculous. I have been getting stronger in the gym, more explosive stuff to hit the ball further. And I have started to hit it further, which is great. I said it in passing. It's not a couple years. I said I think I could do it within a decade. Now, I'm 33. I understand that the decade is going to be a little short. If I were to do it, which I'm never going to, I think I have like 2 to 4 years of probably 2 years of straight training. And I think it would be possible. Now,
okay, so Harry Higgs, professional golfer, is of the opinion. Now, I would kind of agree with him on the marathon thing. I think a marathon would be an easier task. That if you and I, Chris Webber, set out to dedicate ourselves to get into the shape that we needed to get into to run a marathon.
Sounds terrible.
It sounds awful, but I think we could do it.
Yes.
I don't think that I have an ability to dunk a basketball.
I think a better comparison would be if he were to have said to win a marathon. That's kind of the equivalent to me of dunking a basketball.
There you go. Yes.
You can. There's no doubt that you could train to be able to jump higher, but I don't think you're going to dunk a basketball unless you can dunk a basketball.
I mean, I think you have to have certain genetic, physical abilities that you are born with. I think you have to hone those abilities. I think you have to, have to train up.
You have to be in shape.
But I think Matt Murphy, I could get in. I'm not in shape. If I got into the best shape of my life, I don't think I'm going to be able to jump to dunk a basketball.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't either. No way.
Did you find any percentages online?
The best I could find is a couple of different sources that say basically around 1 to 3% of the general population.
Mm-hmm.
And that's including, that's just all people,
right?
I would assume is when they say the population, not just like grown men or adults. So you're also including children and the elderly people.
Oh, hell.
So maybe
we're not including women. No women can dunk a basketball.
Oh, boy, don't start that.
Please don't.
You just can't go a day without people hating you, right?
Please don't. It's a joke. Just please, y'all have a great weekend. Don't let that swarm over you all weekend long. But in all seriousness, no women can dunk a basketball, right?
Yes, they can.
Who?
I bet Caitlin Clark can dunk a basketball.
I don't think she can.
Really?
I bet you there are a few females.
Yeah, there are some that can.
I mean, first and foremost is you have to be really tall.
No, not necessarily.
Spud Webb. Everybody brings up old Spud Webb.
He was like 5'6".
Spud Webb was like a little weirdo anomaly.
Yeah, he has grasshopper legs.
He was like a little flea. He could bing, bing.
Yep.
Man, it was great. That was fun watching him do the basketball dunk. So, all right. Well, let's give it a go. You and I. 4 years. 4 years from tonight. May 9th, 2029. Let's see who can dunk a basketball.
Prepare to be disappointed.
Yeah, if we get that far alive and still employed and still friendly with one another, and we remember 4 years from now we were going, well, We can't.
That solves that.
We did our best. We gave it a go. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Remember, there are people that make our weekend special. Firefighters, police officers, first responders, doctors, nurses, EMTs, all of the convenience store workers, the restaurateurs, and everybody else that works the weekend. We thank you, weekend warriors. We appreciate you. If I see you at the Savannah Bananas, I'll be the guy in the hat. Until Monday, have a great weekend, folks. So long.